Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bandit. Look, just letting you guys know I actually wasn't here for this podcast because with, the time zones between Australia and America and the UK, the way it works out is I need to be up at 6 a.m. in order to record so that it works out at, afternoon and evening in the other countries. And this time we wanted to record, I very stupidly stayed up until 3 a.m. and then expected to actually get up at 6 a.m. in order to record. Of course I didn't, so poor old Trey and Trilbee had to continue on without me, but hey, I'm sure they did great, but because it's already so delayed, I have only had time to add in the different intros for the different segments that Trey sent me the time codes for, so basically what you're going to listen to, I have no idea what these guys are going to say. Normally, when I'm recording the time codes, if we cough or make a mistake or one of us walks away or whatever, I can edit it out. This case, because I wasn't recording the time zones, I have no idea. There could be anything in here. I don't know what it is. Hopefully there's nothing like horribly racist or sexist or something in there. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Oh my god, it's 3 a.m. again. Like, I'm not even joking. It really is 3 a.m. again here now, because it's a whole other story. That's what happens when you work from home. But anyway, enjoy the podcast, guys, and I will be with you guys next week again.
We are tonight's entertainment.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Excellent!
Hello everyone, and welcome to an episode of the Movie Mania podcast, where we talk films past, present, and future. I'm Sherman Trey White of Podcast Media, and joining me are the men, the myths, the legend. If you excuse them, they have to return some videotapes. Trilbee and Bandit, you there? Bandit. Well, Trilbee.
Hello, yes, it appears to just be us two for now.
Oh, yeah. For you guys are wondering, Bandit is away for a moment. He might be joining us soon, maybe not, but that being said, hey, trademark, we're going to get this podcast going. So, Trilbee, how you been doing? How was your week?
I've been doing good. It's been up and down the country sorting out this new place for myself and my partner, but this afternoon, this Monday just gone, we've started paying. The new place is ours and we move into it next week, so I'll have a proper recording space. Also been watching a lot of movies in my spare time, and it was fun, so I look forward to talking all of those this episode of the podcast and such. So what about you? How are you doing, Trey?
You sounded so uncomfortable saying that. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's spring break here, which means that we don't have any school this week. All week I have no school. I get to sit back, relax, and eat junk food. Wonderful. I had a doctor's appointment today. I got my meningitis shot, which you have to get before you go into college, and it hurts. Excuse me. It hurts a lot more than you think it would. Like, usually I get vaccinated, I'm just like, oh, it's just a shot, it doesn't hurt that much. But this one, for some reason, I don't know if it's the chemicals that they're injecting into my body, or if it's
too much junk food,
or if it's too much junk food, or the kind of needles they use. But this one really hurts, like a lot. It makes me uncomfortable. It's like, ow. Maybe I'm just becoming more and more of a wuss, but that's whatever. All right,
that's what happens when you get older.
Yeah, man, old age is be kind to me.
Appreciate your youth.
All right, Trilbee, let's get into the movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. Cannonball!
All right, Trilbee. So here we go to movie news. We're gonna work our way to kind of the major event of this week. We're gonna start small and get bigger. Okay. Sony released last week that they're going to be doing a new Venom movie, but it's going to be separate from the Spider-Man universe that they're starting up with Marvel.
This is strange, because Sony have been in the good books of Marvel since they did this deal last year where Spider-Man now is like shared custody between Marvel Studios and Sony, so that they can be in their own cinematic universes and rebooted. And now they just say, you know what, we're just going to take Spider-Man's main villain, apart from the Green Goblin, one of his two main villains, and just completely disconnect it. I don't see the logic here. I'm assuming this is in response to Deadpool, because I think they're going to go for an R rating, something more horror action, if that makes sense.
I know where they. I got an idea for who's going to. Well, it's Avi Arad, so who is notorious for not being the best studio head when it comes to producing wise. He's the reason movies like Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 failed. He's the reason that if you watched the first Amazing Spider-Man and you said, this feels like a studio made it, it's because Avi Arad was heavily involved in this film, you know. He worked with Kevin Feige for a while in some of the earlier Marvel movies, like X-Men and whatnot, but since Feige, got smart, left, and made his own Marvel Cinematic Universe, Avi Arad's been trying to, pick up the scraps that he left behind, and now apparently the scraps are called Venom. This seems entirely pointless. Why would you ever want to do something like this? This is ridiculous.
I get wanting to make a villain standalone movie, but to completely disconnect it from Spider-Man, because without Spider-Man, you don't have Venom. He has, the freaking Spider-Man symbol on his chest. He's got the eyes.
Yeah.
How do you explain the visual design? This doesn't add up. This would be like having, I don't know, the Ironmonger from Iron Man, but having no Iron Man. Where did he get the technology?
I'd say it's like they announced we're gonna make a movie about the Penguin, but it's not gonna be Batman. We're like, well, wait a minute, they're tied together. It's like, well, instead of his family being ruined by the Waynes, they're being ruined by the Paynes. It's like what's going on here? Yeah, I'm
just imagining that headline when they get shot in the alley. The Payne couple died, and it's like, oh well, we should have seen that coming. With a last name like that, what do you expect?
No, but it's like, there's no point in making this movie, but I'm gonna see it if it does get made. They're probably gonna scrap this. This smells very Aunt May to me. They're just find a popular Spider-Man character. What about Venom? Just make the Sinister Six movie if you're so desperate, guys. And
Or an Aunt May Venom movie.
Oh, dude, okay,
As
all right.
She becomes
Venom.
Venom.
Or I was going to say, okay, right, so it's Aunt May in her nursing home, right? And then, the Venom symbiote gets stuck in, they put it in their tapioca pudding, and then, so they eat it, and then it's a bunch of old people as Venom symbiotes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, it'd be interesting if they went, because in the comics right now, I think it's right now, there's Agent Venom.
Yeah, Flash Thompson.
He uses it. Yeah, he uses the symbiote powers to just be an infiltrator, and I think that would be a cool approach, but once again, why disconnect it from Spider-Man if you are on good terms with Marvel Studios? Yeah. I'm guessing this means that Marvel have no plans for Venom in their movies, otherwise they wouldn't allow this at all.
That's what this sounds like to me. This sounds like Sony's over here looking like George Lucas, well, the Venom's really popular among the fans, and Kevin Feige is just like, no, we're doing our stuff now, okay? We want Mysterio. We've already done Venom. George Lucas is like, but the money. And so it's just like... but Marvel's just like...
But it's like poetry. It's like they rhyme.
Yeah, every third Spider movie has to have Venom in it. It's poetry. Mary Sue's and whatnot. No, but so it's... It smells like they don't want to do Venom, which I'm fine with them not doing Venom. I want to see people like Mysterio and Kraven, new elements that aren't just the same villains over and over like we've been seeing for the last 3 movies or something like that. So, yeah okay.
Yeah, strange news, but hey.
Speaking of news that seems mildly disappointing, but J.K. Simmons.
It's double-edged.
Yeah, double-edged sword. Speaking of a double-edged sword, J.K. Simmons has been cast as Commissioner Gordon.
I was just thinking, what does J.K. Simmons have to do with the sword? Is he samurai Commissioner Gordon? That would be pretty cool.
It's great that he wants, it's great that he wants to be the Commissioner Gordon. It's a role that's probably fit for him. I'm thinking something like Year One era Gordon, not necessarily Dark Knight Returns Gordon. But at the same time, I really, really wanted to see J.K. Simmons in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's something that's just warms, just makes me so giddy. But what do you think about him cast as Commissioner Gordon?
He's one of those names that you don't consider, you don't think of it for Commissioner Gordon, but then it's mentioned and everything just falls into place. I think he's absolutely terrific with incredible range, and if you've only seen him in Spider-Man, you'll know that he's great at comedy, but he's terrific at acting. He won Best Supporting Actor last year for Whiplash, very well deserved. He's a great vocal performer. He was great in Kung Fu Panda 3. I hear that he's great in Zootopia.
He is.
And of course, Portal 2, where he plays Cave Johnson. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade, make the life take lemons back. He's terrific in Portal 2. This is a great name, and I think that while it would be great to see him play J. Jonah Jameson again, I'm assuming, this is not confirmed, so Cinema Blend don't run this as a story. I think there's probably something in his contract saying you can be Commissioner Gordon, you can do whatever you want in the DC universe, but you cannot be part of the competition. That's not confirmed. It's just speculation. I think this is the nail in the coffin for whether or not he will play JJ again.
I think that's what kept Lexi Alexander from being Wonder Woman. Who, if you guys know who Lexi Alexander is, she played Lady Sif in the Thor films. Because I see her and like, that's Wonder Woman. Just make her Wonder Woman because she could do the part. But I think that's because she had that Marvel contract, and they were like, Kevin Feige's like, no, you stay here with us. Looking like John Goodman in 10 Cloverfield. No, So I guess like I feel like in Mr. Sunday Movies in the Weekly Planet, guys, they said this. Like I feel like in J.K. Simmons' contract it said can go to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, cannot be J. Jonah Jameson. I felt like that was one of the drawbacks. But I am really excited for this. He's a very versatile actor, and I want to see a Gordon that we haven't seen before, which is going to be difficult because we seen Gary Oldman as Gordon in the Nolan trilogy, and he probably was the most grounded. And I feel like if out of all the elements that could translate over easily, Gordon could translate very easily from Dark Knight trilogy to like a comic book style universe, because Gordon's always kind of that grounded character. So I'm interested to see what dynamic he's going to bring to the role.
Yeah, and like I said, while it's not a name I would have considered, the guy has such incredible range. He's done TV, film, screen, he's done some stage work, he's done voice acting. This guy's the total package, and there's so much prestige in the DC universe now. Ben Affleck, J.K. Simmons, you've got Jesse Eisenberg, these Academy Award winning and nominated actors, the incredible prestige on board. They're really going big or going home, and I think that at least displays some sort of confidence in the material. We'll have to see how Batman v Superman is received.
Yeah, it tells me also that it seems like Ben Affleck has a lot more pull than we maybe previously have thought, because I think they've recently worked together on a film that may not be out yet, but I think they recently shot a film together. And I know that they're getting Oscar winners to be in these movies. Ben Affleck. They got. They got
Amy Adams, Jeremy
Irons.
Yes,
thank you. I was trying to find Jeremy Irons. They got Jeremy Irons, who is an Academy Award winner. The front runner for a long time to be Commissioner Gordon or Lex Luthor. Bryan Cranston, who he and Ben Affleck won Best Picture together with Argo. Also, I think Bryan Cranston would be a pretty cool Hugo Strange.
Oh yes, and not just because he's bald.
No. I think it's because that's a role we haven't seen him kind of do before, and I think if they're gonna give Bryan Cranston something, give him someone that right away he picks that Ben Affleck is that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Actor Ben Affleck is secretly Batman.
Have you ever seen Ben Affleck and Bruce Wayne in the same room as each other before? Didn't think so.
No, but I'm just saying, I've never seen my poop and Kim Kardashian in the same room together. They might be the same thing.
Oh God. Lawsuit incoming, lawsuit.
I just hear people knocking on my door. You hate transsexuals? No, calm down. Let's not get political here.
Let us not.
But and J.K. Simmons is a very elite talent. So it sounds like to me Ben Affleck is having a lot of pull, especially since if he's writing the new Batman movie for sure. And I'd like to see if they're going to get him to direct, but they obviously are, because why wouldn't you get him to direct the movie? I'm excited to see where they go with this. It's Batman v Superman is actually looking pretty tip-top shape.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing if this Batman v Superman movie does land on both feet, if it does get audience attention. Because when you ask the mainstream about it, I'm not trying to start a fanboy war, but when you ask the mainstream, they're basically saying, why are Batman and Superman fighting? It's stupid. The film looks really depressing. They're not really excited for it. Like the geek community are hyped naturally, but when you ask mainstream audiences, there's just a lot of questions and a lot of doubt, and I think it's the mainstream where Batman v Superman will rise or fall.
I don't know. I feel like there's a weird lack of anticipation from the like when Star Wars came out. Literally everyone was losing their mind. Every theater was sold out. Good luck getting tickets on Thursday. Literally everywhere on Thursday was sold out, gone. And now the Civil War trailer comes out, right? and like Thursday night tickets sold out just like that. Like, they were gone immediately.
Yeah.
And so, but Batman Superman tickets are still very much available to be bought. And so it's like, I wonder if the $120 million opening weekend track is still, is probably more accurate than we think, because I'm thinking 200 million plus, but this might end up doing maybe 140 max. I don't know.
Yeah. Which would still be an awful lot of money, but I do think it'll be a disappointment if it's not at least 150, 160.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, but when you look at, how much this movie cost, you look at what the typical major, like even Age of Ultron, a movie that many people found to be disappointing, was at 191 opening weekend. So that's very odd to me. I don't know. Maybe there really does seem to be this negative outlay that I don't understand why, but that's okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in like a fortnight.
Wow. You
It
couldn't
is
get
scary.
more British than that, surely.
Oh, Sibley Dip and Spings Bang Spillip, let's go see Dawn of Justice, cheerio. Yes, 2 of your best IMAX tickets, please.
Now that is frontier justice. Okay.
Well, looks like the Dawn of Justice is going to get cozy for the next few days. Oh, by the way, when you were talking, it was like a couple of weeks before I joined the podcast, you and Bandit were talking about Hateful Eight, and I rewatched it recently, and you are completely right in that when you watch it a second time, you get so much more out of it because of how Daisy reacts to all of these people in the cabin, including that accent, and good call.
Yeah, well, good to know that I'm doing something right here. Thank you.
You have influence.
Yay! Speaking of justice,
Yes.
Captain America Civil War trailer dropped, and I won't lie, it's really freaking awesome. Like, it's which is weird because I guess it's not weird, which is great because when that first trailer dropped back in November, I think, or whatever it was, me and Bandit kind of had the same reaction of, it's good, it's okay, it's good, it's nothing amazing, but it's good. Everyone else was just like, oh man, Civil War looks so great. I'm like, it looks okay. It looks good. And then I saw the Super Bowl ad, and I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. I like that. Bucky tries to shoot Iron Man in the face, and like that look in Iron Man's face, just like, what did you just do? That was amazing.
Yeah.
And then this trailer comes out, and I'm just like, bravo. Now that's a trailer. Like, it's weird that these trailers keep building as opposed to where Marvel trailers usually peak high and then just kind of stay at that same level. This marketing has kind of been building to this epic kind of, the movie looks amazing. Trilbee, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
I think this is the best trailer that Marvel Studios has ever put out. And I know it's like cliche to go with the latest thing. Like, this is the latest thing and I'm riding on cloud 9, so it's naturally the best. But everything from the reveal at the end, which I'm sure we'll talk about, or just ignore, just to really annoy people. Just everything from the build and how it so confidently lays out both sides of the argument. Right. And it shows the casualties that happened from Winter Soldier, Avengers, and Age of Ultron. It shows the collateral damage and how these characters are not the same as how they started out. And that is the glorious nature of a cinematic universe, how it's essentially a massively budgeted TV series that you have to wait 6 or 7 months for every single episode, and these characters are changing, they're growing, they're developing, and when you do have a moment where Tony Stark says, final warning, stay down, and he says, I can do this all day, it means something. It's such a great callback.
Oh my god, I could do this all day. Now, my thing with this trailer, my big thing is that it feels like there's actual stakes. This is the first time since maybe I saw the first trailer for Age of Ultron where I thought, wow, things are going down. This is getting serious. And unfortunately, Age of Ultron, while I think it's great, it didn't have the stakes that I wanted it to have, but that's okay. That's just my expectation. This looks like Civil War. This looks like someone's going to get, in the same way the comics, Johnny Storm gets beat up by, I think it's Iron Man supporters or whatever, and he gets beaten to death in or not to death, but beaten
that would end the Civil War pretty quickly. Yeah,
beaten to a bloody pulp in an alley by just regular everyday people. Like, that's, things like that I feel like can happen here. Maybe not with Johnny Storm, obviously, but there are
Chris Evans.
Yeah, well, they're legitimate stakes. I feel like every time I see Iron Man, put that weird, nanotech glove on and Bucky aim at him and Iron Man block the shot, I feel the pain on Iron Man's face of just like, what did you just do? And then, when War Machine gets shot at the sky, probably not by Bucky, but, it's meant to look like that. But when he gets shot at the sky and he pulls off the mask, he's like, I was wrong about you. Everyone was wrong about you. I was like, oh, man.
And it's interesting. Insane. It's interesting that you talk about stakes because from these trailers, at least, there's nothing in terms of like the world's not going to end. They don't have to save America or Europe or Sokovia again or whatever. These are personal stakes. And because we've become so invested in these characters, in how many films has it been? Like a dozen. A lot of movies.
This is going to be like 12 or 13,
Yeah, if there are all... Because we've grown to care about these characters. It's a bit like Ant-Man, but bigger. I don't just mean that as in...
I mean like scale-wise. It's a much more personal story.
Yeah, it's the sense that it's not about saving the world or saving the country. It's about whether or not these characters that we grow to love will come out not only alive or...
At least not yet. It seems like it's not about saving the world. Because Baron Zemo is in this movie. Daniel Bruhl is playing apparently the main villain. But as of right now, it does still look like it's going to be a personal story.
Yeah, like maybe they're holding off a lot of I think they're holding off a lot of the third act, because I think that fight scene that takes place at, I'm assuming, an airport, like a runway or something like that.
Shot in IMAX, by the way, which I'm excited,
I'm assuming that probably takes place maybe halfway through the movie, maybe the end of the second act, and then the fight between Tony, Bucky, and Cap will be the climax of the movie. I'm assuming, maybe... Man. I think there's a lot more to this movie than these already terrific trailers are letting on, and I want to know who will win the Civil War, because in the comic books, who won it was Captain America. He forfeited because there was so much collateral damage and everybody was dying.
He ended up surrendering, and then which I guess means Tony won, but on the steps of the courthouse after he got arrested, Crossbones snipes him in the back, and I think it goes through his chest, and he dies. Yeah. And that's how the comic ends, which is crazy. Do you think they're going to go that route in this movie? Do you think they're going to kill him off this way?
Maybe not Cap. It could be they could throw a curveball in and try and confuse comic book fans by maybe killing Tony Stark instead.
That's like a Game of Thrones-esque. I know you don't watch Game of Thrones, but a lot of the books for a long time, the books, they hadn't caught up to the books yet in terms of the adaptation of the show, and so people were always being really smug. But come season 5, they started changing things, and people were just like, "Oh, that wasn't in the book," So it's like,
that is one reason I think that Iron Man 3 got so poorly received by fans, because while fair enough if you don't like the Mandarin twist, but when the film just came out, there was a hell of a lot more. It wasn't like the comics. Then there was, it didn't really work tonally. I don't think the twist worked. There was a lot more. They changed it for the sake of it.
I didn't read the Mandarin comics. While I do agree that Mandarin is probably his biggest villain, he is essentially the Lex Luthor or the Joker of Iron Man. My issue was that, and I think you ever heard of this channel called It's Just Some Random Guy?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he pointed it out, and he put it perfectly. Iron Man was like, well, do you want us to do something racist, like this weird Ming Mong Ching Kao Chinese villain? And Superman was like, no, but you did promise us an epic Osama bin Laden-esque villain that was going to provide some real stakes for the Iron Man universe. And I was just like, exactly, that's the problem. That's your problem.
That's a legitimate complaint, and I understand people having that, but when Iron Man 3 came out, there was a lot more, you didn't follow the comics, therefore I wasn't in the know, and I couldn't act smug to all my friends by explaining everything. There was a lot more of that.
I just thought it was boring, man.
Agree to disagree.
It's okay. Hey, man, you like the Incredible Hulk? That's fine. So do I.
Good thing Bandit's not here. Otherwise, I'd boycott the podcast.
Yeah, because I don't think he likes Iron Man 4 either. So I refuse to call it Iron Man 3. I think in the Civil War trailer, there's a great moment where General Ross is going through all the buildings, he's going look what you did to New York, DC, Sokovia, and Wanda looks down, and the way Cap, I don't know why the way Cap says, all right, he's like, all right, that's enough. That line to me is just oh man, there's real emotional pain. He feels like he feels responsible, and now there seems to be this backlash-ish, but there's basically backlash against Tony Stark's side, against people that support Tony Stark, because people feel like Tony Stark is essentially saying, Look at all the mistakes I made. Now we all have to pay for it. And which is not entirely true. Sokovia, Age of Ultron, was essentially his fault, sure. But
which is why he's overcompensating. Tony Stark, by his nature, overcompensates.
Yeah, but the first Avengers is not his fault. The first Avengers is essentially Thor's fault. Damn
it,
if you want to
Thor!
look at it. Yeah,
skipping out on the Civil War.
And Winter Soldier was S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fault. That was S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fault for not realizing that they had Hydra agents embedded in their whole way, and Thor the Dark World was also Thor's fault, Guardians of the Galaxy one that didn't take place on Earth. But, a lot of the world-ending destruction that happens, essentially was not Tony Stark's fault, though Age of Ultron was his fault. I guess that makes sense. But, so I don't know. Whose side are you on, Trilbee?
I'm actually on Team Iron Man.
Yeah!
Because not only do I think he has the better team, but I think it's because, well, it's hard. Both sides aren't wrong. There are degrees of, there's black and white, right and wrong on both sides, which is what makes this conflict so incredibly compelling, and I really
there
want to know
are at least 50 shades of gray here. I guess I don't.
or not. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of Bucky. I just don't think he's a very interesting character. He's not bad, and I kind of buy the relationship between him and Steve, but it's one issue with having a cinematic universe in that when there's a weak element in an earlier film and then they rely on that a lot later on, it doesn't feel entirely earned. I don't really buy that Rogers would go this far for his cryogenically frozen assassination-loving friend.
I kind of do. Just because I bought into the relationship. He wasn't very interesting, but I felt a connection there in the first Avenger, when especially when he saves him from the bullies. You're like, yeah, I buy that. But that's just me.
Yeah, but I completely understand Captain America, because after the events of the Winter Soldier, he knows that if the government do keep tabs on them, then the last time he worked for the government, they turned out to literally be Nazis. No, worse than Nazis, because the Nazis kicked Hydra out for being too evil.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And now, I was watching the Honest trailer today for Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and they provided a really awesome argument to the movie's plot, the movie's big twist. It's like, if S.H.I.E.L.D. has basically been Hydra this whole time, how come that when they had the Tesseract, they didn't use that to take over the world? When that was the Red Skull's plan, and he's basically the OG Hydra. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But I think that this movie, I'm also on Team Iron Man, because he's right. They need to be responsible for what they've done. If this was the real world and superheroes were a real thing, I'm like, yeah, they knocked out half of Washington, D.C. We should probably keep them in check. At the same time, I'm like, yeah, but half the government was Nazis, so maybe they shouldn't work with us.
I know, and it's a slippery slope. If the government take control of the Avengers or superheroes, then all of a sudden we may have somebody going, "Make the Avengers great again." But let's not get too political here.
We should build a wall around Sokovia to make sure nothing bad happens again, all right?
And we make China pay for it. But there are so many small moments in this trailer. We see Scarlet Witch completely owning Vision. We see Ant-Man riding the arrow.
Oh, that was so good!
Part of me wishes they did save that for the movie, because that really is just something people have been waiting for the moment Ant-Man was announced. The moment that we knew that he was going to be in the same universe as Hawkeye, they were waiting for that riding the arrow moment.
I still want Wolverine to fight the Hulk. That's my childhood dream.
Oh, yes.
Star Wars was great. Seeing Civil War is incredible right now. But when I was a kid, I always had Wolverine fight the Hulk. That's just me. That's might be since I was 4 years old. But that's whatever. Keep going. Sorry, keep going.
Have you seen the TV series Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Yes.
Yeah, and when they do the arrow shoot with Ant-Man, and that's such an awesome moment. I wish it was recreated like that. But yeah, there's so much in this trailer that to chew on and so much to get excited about, and yet I still don't feel like they've shown everything. I still feel that there's a lot more to be seen.
Well, because there's so many different heroes to do. I'm excited to see Ant-Man ride on top of Falcon or something, or like you know how Falcon has like the little, apparently, because in the comics he has a little mini Falcon on his side. Apparently he has a robotic mini Falcon. See, I've seen in that team photo that leaked.
I forgot about that. They showed that
like,
at D23.
Ant-Man, so like Ant-Man maybe can ride that, and like that's like his new like, dude, like this so many different like. And I'm sure Ant-Man's going to do a lot of different cool stuff. We might see Giant Man in this movie. So,
I believe that's that's not officially by Marvel, but Funko Pop, those bobbleheads that you get, they have announced a Giant Man one in association with Civil War.
Thanks. Well, thanks.
Hey, it's on the internet, so everyone must know it.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm just happy I didn't see that Luke Skywalker picture that when I did.
Although, to be fair, maybe just because Funko Pop are doing a toy of that doesn't mean it's happening. I mean, if you looked at Lego announcing their Iron Man 3 toys, or Iron Man 4 as you call it, they had the Mandarin riding a speedboat with lots of tentacles attached to it, and they were going to fight War Machine and Iron Man. So toys don't necessarily mean spoilers. It would have been awesome. And then you see news articles saying, "Oh, is this the Mandarin's ultimate weapon?" And it's like, God's sake, film journalism nowadays.
It's like that picture that came out of like Finn Calrissian on one board, like one Star Wars chess game.
Oh, wasn't it a jigsaw puzzle or something?
Oh yeah, something. See, yeah, Finn Calrissian, and they were just like, Finn to be Lando's son in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, or. Yeah, we're just like,
Hey, remember the time that Batman v Superman was going to be split into 2 parts?
Oh, that was so great.
Oh, Enter the Night was good, wasn't it? It came out a few months ago.
Enter the Night was like one of the best movies of last year. It was robbed at the Oscars. I mean, Jesse Eisenberg just killed it. I mean, give Zack Snyder an Oscar already, am I right?
Oh, gosh, film.
Okay, so let's talk Black Panther. I think it's always been a standout for me. Black Panther, for me, he always reminds me of, like, if Captain America's sensibilities were given, like, if Captain America and Batman had a love child, that, to me, would be Black Panther.
Yes.
In the sense of, like, he has the good sense of morality that Captain America has, but he has the brutality that
and the fortune.
And the fortune that Batman has. And he has the suit and he's dark and whatever. That's not a racial thing, Jesus Christ. And I think it appears that T'Challa's dad might be in that press conference at the UN. And he might get killed. That's my speculation, because we see him crying after the UN building gets blown up or whatever.
Well, to be fair, when you caught an explosion, maybe it's because cries of pain.
Maybe.
Like, my panther leg.
Oh, maybe Martin Freeman's character dies.
Oh, I hope not. I love that guy.
Because Martin Freeman, this was done a couple of weeks ago. So maybe Martin Freeman was announced as a character who was closely associated with the Black Panther. Like, he's a government agent guy that works with Black Panther. So maybe he dies in the explosion, which allows, like, dude, that's crazy. Because I just came to me, and so now, like, that's why. So it makes sense when Black Panther goes after Bucky, because clearly I think someone close to him gets hurt.
I know that the rumor's been debunked by now, but I really liked the one where they were saying that Martin Freeman might play Norman Osborn.
That would have been cool.
But obviously that's been debunked. That's not happening.
That would have been cool.
That would have been awesome.
I know they wanted Matthew McConaughey in either Marvel or DC role. I think he would have been a pretty cool Norman Osborn. All right, Spider. Yeah. All right, Spider-Man. All right.
But you see that his suit's bulletproof. It's made of the same material as Captain America's shield, and I saw
it's made out of vibranium. Yeah.
I saw a great image online where he's getting shot at by the helicopter, and then the caption says, "What do you think I'm made of? Quicksilver?"
He should have put on some sunglasses. He's like, "What do you think I'm made of? Quicksilver?" Yeah. Down. Produced by Kevin Feige. Yeah, that would have been great. That's a good meme.
And we see him take out Bucky on the motorcycle.
Yeah, I saw another picture that's like, it showed him like being bulletproof, and then he cut it, and then he looks at it and says, "You didn't see that coming," and it says Quicksilver's face.
Oh,
that was awesome. Okay, all right, enough about Quicksilver. They might bring him back though, so whatever. No stakes in the Marvel Universe, apparently not until Civil War. We do see him take out Bucky on the bike. That was cool as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, favorite moment of the trailer before we get into kind of the big deal of the trailer. What was your favorite moment?
It's a toss-up between the very end and also the moment where Cap says this doesn't have to end in a fight, and you see Tony Stark unmasked, like bruised in the face, just turn around. And we forget this because he's been in like 6-7 movies as this character, but Robert Downey Jr. is phenomenally good as Tony Stark.
Absolutely.
He's such a good performer as well. He's a great actor, and I think we take that for granted.
Well, that scene in Age of Ultron, when they're chopping wood, they're both legitimately acting. I don't see the actors. I see the characters. I see the comic book panels happening in front of me. That was great.
And it's like in Iron Man 3/4, whatever you want to call it, this will get confusing. When he's talking to Pepper, talking like he can't sleep, he has nightmares, and that he wants to make sure that she's safe. It's such a great performance.
I know. I must have been sleeping. Sorry.
Possibly during that, but it was a talky bit, and the suits weren't happening, so he must have fallen asleep. I kid. He glares at Cap and then just slaps him. You just started a war.
Yeah.
I love that moment. It's probably a toss up between the ending and that moment in the trailer for me.
That what you just brought up is my favorite moment. It's like, you just started a war, and then it cuts to Black Panther with the sunglasses. A civil war. Yeah. Meow. Meow.
Oh, God.
No, but it's that moment really shows that was when I was like, man, things are getting serious. Oh my God, he looks like he just got he's like the Cap said, I want a divorce, and Tony Stark turns around and just says, well, I'm taking the kids. It's like, you started a war. That was a great moment. Let's get to the bigger moment here. Yeah. Hawkeye had a really great shot. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, literally, he had a great shot, and he had a lance on him.
One great shot, yeah.
There was a moment where someone got punched.
Yeah.
That was the great moment.
No, let's talk about it. Underoos. Do you know what
underoos?
Do you know what underoos are?
Boxers, pants,
yeah,
underwear.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's confusing when you're British.
They're like old superhero pajamas from like the 80s. They're like old spandex, yeah. Which I guess is amazing. That was improvised. I love the way Tony Stark. He's like, I've run out of patience. Underoos, you see it.
Yeah,
you see the web. Now, my excitement for that shot was diminished by my cousin, who I love to death. He's a great person, but
we hate you, cousin. Not really. I don't even know you.
He's the reason I love superheroes the way I do now. Because when we were little, we're about the same age. When we were little, we would do one thing, and that was, we would sit down on his old TV, turn a channel, and watch the Spider-Man 90s cartoon over and over. That cartoon was our show. That's what we would watch. That and X-Men. That's all we did. I would watch Batman, but he didn't like Batman at the time because he was a loser.
Who doesn't like Batman?
Because he was a loser. And I remember my first movie I ever saw in theaters was the first Spider-Man movie. So Spider-Man's been like a big part of my life for a long time. So it doesn't surprise me that when he watched the Civil War trailer and saw Spider-Man, the first thing he did was take a screenshot of it and send it to me. The only problem is that I'm in the middle of class and I just get a text. I'm just like, let me check my text. It's a picture screenshot of that, and it's my cousin and my cousin going, and I yelled out, "Mother trucker!" Except I didn't say trucker. Only I didn't say fudge. And my teacher, my voice cracked, and my teacher was just like, Trey, what's wrong? He's just like, no, Spider-Man, they ruined it for me. And then
I finally got pictures of Spider-Man. And then all of a sudden I'm with DC. I'm too late.
I need a picture of bad like Brian but it's like J.K. Simmons. It's like finally get to see a picture of Spider-Man cast as Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. Oh, give me a violin.
Yeah, and so
great reveal.
And so my friend who was sitting next to me was also just like, "Oh man, spoilers!" I'm like, "I know." And I watched it. It was a great reveal. And it was still really cool. I still got Algier. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. I love the way his eyes go in the classic Ditko eyes.
Yes.
That's just little touches like that. What do you think about Spider-Man?
I think it looks absolutely terrific. People have been complaining about like maybe the suit looks a bit plasticky, but you can find high res, high quality photos which show a bit more texture.
Yeah.
Of course, YouTube naturally compresses stuff, and maybe there's a bit more work to be done on the CGI. But I think this was such a great reveal, and I think symbolically, because the fact that he's come from the Sony universe and that this is a new reboot under the Marvel umbrella, him taking the shield, one of the most iconic images from Marvel Studios, and wielding it. He's the captain now, as Captain Phillips's pirate adversary would say.
That was another meme going around, and like Spider-Man's like, look at me, and it cuts Captain America, and then his eyes squint. I'm the captain now. That's amazing.
I've seen some great montages where they add in different things, like my name's Jeff, like all of these other things. But,
surprise, mother trucker. Yeah, I like that one too. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, it's such a great reveal. I like how Tom Holland's voice does sound prepubescent. He's meant to be a kid.
He sounds like a 16. Yeah, well, Tom Holland in real life is like 19. He sounds like a 16-year-old kid. He's like, hey everyone, what's going on? He sounds like me when I talk. Hey everyone, how you doing? Yeah.
Hey, glad to be here. I'm big fans. Scarlet Witch, I like your blog.
Scarlett Johansson, I like your
assets.
Assets. I like your assets.
I like your assets. But I think that this is not going to be the first. This will be the first time we see him in costume, in this particular costume in the movie, I think, because there's been concept art of him like in a hoodie, in like this makeshift Spider-Man costume. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen it. I never knew if that was a real thing. I never knew if that was legitimate or not.
I think that Kevin Feige has said in interviews that he does start off. He's already established before the events of Civil War. He's in a homemade outfit. I'm guessing that Tony Stark tracks him down, says, "I'll make you some new technology. I'll make this suit with his awesome eyes, and then we can call you in if we need you because you're a kid. We don't want you taking part in the Civil War." I think this is Spider-Man's introduction, but not Peter Parker's.
Excuse me, sorry, I'm listening. I think what might happen
Did I bore you?
No.
Are you yawning?
No, I burned.
Because I will leave this podcast post-haste.
I'll have to deal with myself, so was I. No, my thing is that I think, like say, like, the UN thing is happening, or a government thing's happening, and across the street at Peter Parker's high school, like, say, like, the explosion happens, and so that's when Spider-Man's like, oh, I gotta jump in and save the day, and, like, maybe he jumps in, like picture this, right? So Tony Stark puts on his Iron Man hand, Bucky shoots him, he makes that face, and then out of nowhere, Bucky about to shoot again, and like you see a web, grab the gun and pull it away, and then when Sandra turns, and it's like Peter Parker in like his homemade outfit, and he's just like, I wouldn't do that again if I were you, but it's like cocky Peter Parker, because Peter Parker's a cocky little kid, and then, until like he's dodging Bucky's bullets, and like he tries grabbing him with his arm, and Spider-Man dodges it, and like takes out Bucky or whatever, and then Cap looks at him, not kill, but like knock out Bucky, and then Iron Man's just like, hey kid, what's going on? He's like, hey, you alright, sir? And he's like, yeah, you just come talk to me. And then instead of making him like the Iron Spider suit like he does in the comics, instead make him the suit that we see when he calls in the Underoos, where he's got the web shooters and whatnot.
He's got the belt which holds the cartridges.
Yeah. So, do you think he's gonna have natural webs in the movie and then evolve into web shooters?
I think he's just going to go web shooters all the way, because when he takes the shield, there is like a few frames where we see him in the very corner, which is a great tease for the trailer, because we're still confirming whether or not this is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And we see that he does have web shooters, homemade ones, or this isn't organic webbing like the Raimi films, so I'm assuming that. Because the point of Peter Parker is that he's meant to be a genius and that he develops a lot of this technology himself.
Yeah.
He creates the web shooters, which is why the Amazing Spider-Man's absolutely stupid in that Oscorp designed the web shooters and he just adapted them.
I thought Oscorp made the web and he made the shooters himself.
He sort of like borrowed different bits of technology and combined them.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit of a like. It still kind of misses the point, I think, but that's neither here nor there. But
I like the Amazing Spider-Man 1. I like the first movie.
Can we at least agree that 2's terrible?
2's crap, but I think
it's my birthday. I'm gonna light my candles.
See, I thought Jamie Foxx's whole was laughably bad in this.
Yeah.
I get something else to write down for homework. Let me just. Okay, you keep talking about Spider-Man, and
Yeah, I think I really do like the look of this, and people have been comparing this reveal with the Doomsday reveal, saying, why does everyone love Spider-Man but everyone hates Doomsday? I think that's a stupid comparison, because Spider-Man is going to have a tangential relation to the plot at best, because Tom Holland joined the cast like 2 weeks before filming was meant to end.
He was on set for like 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, he was cast relatively late in the game, so his scenes are going to be probably separate from most of the main cast members, with the exception of like CGI and stuntmen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they knew that this deal was happening before filming and Civil War started, but they didn't have an actor. So they just got a stuntman to be Spider-Man during action scenes, and then they filmed Tom Holland's scenes with himself out of the costume late in the game. Right. Whereas Doomsday seems to be the crux of the finale of that movie, and I think it's a bit of a spoiler for a Versus movie to show them teaming up.
Yeah, and that's the difference. That's the difference, is that, you know, they're not... It's not like they... It's not like if like it's like in the trailer, you know, it cuts to like Cap being on the courthouse, and then like, you know, it cuts to Crossbones, you know, like cocking his rifle, and then like you hear a gunshot, and cut to black, and it's like Civil War. That's a spoiler. Yeah. That's the ending of the movie.
That
like,
would be similar to the Doomsday reveal.
Exactly. Like Doomsday, you know, it's like, and even then, like Doomsday goes farther in that. You know, you see, you know, Zod's body. You know, if God won't come out, the devil will do it. And then we see Doomsday show up, and then he shoots at Batman. All right, that's fine, whatever. And you see Wonder Woman block the shot, and you're just like, okay. And then you see Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman all stand together, and you're just like, okay. You basically show us the entire third act.
Yeah, and then you see, and then once you show that Unity shot, it says Batman v Superman, and it's like, but we've just shown the fight ending.
Not anymore. Though,
and
to
also,
be fair, how awesome is that shot when he blocks Superman's hand in the final trailer? I don't know.
Very cool.
That just
it
look
is cool.
Superman gives, he turns his head like, what did you just do?
Yeah. Whoa, time out.
It's like when your parents about to smack you and you grab their hand, they give you a look of like, what'd you just do to me, my boy?
That seems like it comes from a really dark place, Trey, and I think we should change the subject. But yeah, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love the reveal, but I've just got to ask: do you think? Right. Okay. 2 questions. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this should have been in the trailer, the Spider-Man reveal?
Yes.
And did you want it to be in the trailer? Because what you want and what is best for the movie in terms of the box office may be 2 different things.
Here's what I wanted. I wanted, like, maybe you
Crossbones cocking his gun and assassinating Captain America in the trailer.
No, here, like, okay, here. I think it absolutely needed to be in the movie 110%. Because there was no way that Marvel was going... Because people still have... The general public, for the most part, has no idea Spider-Man was in this movie. Putting him in this trailer, not only is a proper business move, but also it's probably not even his best scene, so it's okay. Like, this is exactly what Marvel needs to do. It's like, we have Spider-Man, we have this really great shot, we have his introduction, let's put it in the trailer, it'll keep everyone excited, it'll add even more hype, and there's a reason those tickets sold out so quickly, because people want to see Spider-Man on the big screen shot in IMAX. That sounds awesome. However, what I want personally, I would have preferred if it was just like, under ruse, and then like you see the webbing, and then cut to black or whatever. Maybe not show his suit, or like have him land. You see like the back of like a red head, and like and he's just like, "Hey everyone," and then it cuts to black. You know, just because as a personal fan, I like to be completely surprised, but you know, it doesn't kill the trailer for me that we see him in there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat because, believe it or not, Trey, me and you, we're in the 1%. We are the 1% of people who knew that he'd be in this movie, and we. Regardless of whether or not he was shown in the trailers, we were going to see this movie opening day or opening weekend. This doesn't... Him being in the trailer doesn't affect us. Whereas the general movie-going public, they probably didn't know that he'd be in the movie, putting him at the end of the trailer. I went to see Kung Fu Panda 3 a few days after this trailer debuted, because it just came out in the UK, and they did attach this trailer.
Nice.
There was this 8-year-old kid with a family near the front row, and when Spider-Man appeared at the end, he said... "Fudge, yeah," but he didn't say fudge. And then you just heard the mother just get annoyed at him. So it responded well with at least the kids.
I just imagine an 8-year-old kid like really high pitched. Yeah. I bet he heard his dad like I bet his dad was watching the trailer earlier. He just heard things like, "Oh, it's okay for me to say that, then." Yeah, I mean exactly. Like, you know, if they were to do another Spider-Man movie, it wouldn't necessarily be successful. People would be like, oh, just another Spider-Man movie. But
another reboot?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, they just did one. Like, they just did
Which British actor's playing him this time?
Exactly. People wouldn't go like another reboot. People would just be like, oh, we just got a Spider-Man movie. People, as of making Spider-Man 2, people were sick of Spider-Man. But when you put him in the Avengers, because for a lot of people, this isn't Captain America, this is Avengers, for a lot of people. So when they're like, oh, you put Spider-Man's gonna be in the Avengers? Like, my mom was not excited for Batman Superman until she saw the trailer, and she's like, wait, Wonder Woman's in it? And that's when she was like, oh, I gotta go see it. Cause she's like, cause she grew up watching the Wonder Woman TV show. So, like, now you have these different markets. So, what would you have personally have liked to see?
Personally, for me, I can only speak as myself for me, but I would have not wanted to see Spider-Man, because I think that is a great reveal, but I get it as a business move. I thought it was an awesome moment. It didn't change my anticipation.
Yeah.
This is still like one of my most anticipated movies of the year, like, period.
Yeah.
But I get it. It makes sense, and because it was such a good reveal, I'm happy.
Yeah, this has jumped up for me. It was probably in my top 10, maybe like number 9, but it's right up there for me with Rogue One, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Jungle Book, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yes, Fantastic Beasts is my most anticipated movie for this year, because Star Wars for you is Harry Potter for me.
Yeah, and to be fair, let's not cut me any slack. I did grow up watching Harry Potter.
Oh no, but as in that collective.
Right, I understand. I get it.
Yeah. I hate Rogue One. It just looks so terrible. God, they've got to marry Sue as the lead.
I won't lie. I right now, sitting next to me is my Star Wars drinking water bottle. So yeah, it's the original New Hope poster. Okay.
Next to me is all of the Harry Potter books, including the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them book.
Oh wow. Okay. And next to me is my Star Wars calendar, my 2 Star Wars calendars, my Kylo Ren lightsaber, my BB-8 magazine cover, my Kylo Ren magazine cover, my Industrial Light and Magic magazine cover with BB-8 and J.J. Abrams, and a giant banner of the Millennium Falcon and TIE Fighters from Star Wars The Force Awakens.
I can't quite go that far, but I do own a Sirius Black wand.
Nice.
a Gary Oldman's character in the Harry Potter films, his wand.
Yes. I also have a toy Oscar on my wall. Yeah, I'm a big nerd. That's okay.
Anyway, where were we? Civil War.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much, overall, we're all really excited for it. But that's the movie news. Good 48 minutes on the movie news. This might be a long one.
Well, we mainly just talked about one big thing, but it was the big news story of this past week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so you think Cap's gonna die, right? Let's make sure that's...
Yeah, I think either of them could die. I would like to see at least one death. I think Rhodey might bite it, and I think that the fact they showed it in the trailer, I don't know if that actually deters that theory.
I think like a double
he
bluff.
does bite it.
Might be like a double bluff of like, oh, they're not gonna kill him. They showed it in the trailer. No, we just wanted to get that out of the way. Or they could pull like a Happy Hogan, where in Iron Man 4 he's we see him in the trailer that he's clearly in the hospital. We're like, oh, did he die? No, he's just in the hospital the whole movie.
Yeah, so at least one person has to die. At least one.
It's a war. It's a war.
Yeah, and whether or not that's Cap, whether or not that's Iron Man, even maybe a supporting member who doesn't have their own movie coming.
Spider-Man.
Like no wonder they're making their own Venom movie without any Spider-Man, because he's dead.
No, but Ant-Man is getting his own movie. He's got Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Panther, of course. Yeah. And you can't just kill all of the black guys. That would just... That's wrong. I mean, the MCU's hurting for diversity as it is.
That is the Walking Dead level of just black casting of let's see. Well, we just introduced Noah. We can kill Tyrese. What's that? We just introduced Morgan again. Well, we can kill Noah. Oh, spoilers, I guess. Sorry.
But I'm thinking if they do kill Captain America, because we know he's back for Infinity War, they could use one of the Infinity Gems to bring him back. But my theory is that Cap dies, and the events of Thor Ragnarok involve Thor and the Hulk going into the Asgardian afterlife to get him back, because maybe great warriors or great fighters go to Valhalla, and the fact that Thor's like, we have to go get Cap, but there's incredible beast there, we don't stand a chance, we need a Hulk. I think that's where Thor Ragnarok's going, and the events of them going into the afterlife trigger the Asgardian end of the world.
My nerd tears are coming on my eyes.
That's my theory.
That's beautiful. You gotta, wow, that's amazing. That beats my theory of having Doctor Strange breaking back with the time gem. Oh my god, that's wow. Oh man, I thought I was getting nerdy with my Doctor Strange mention. No, you.
Because it's like with, I know it's a Doctor Who thing. You probably don't bother, but when it comes to death in that universe, early on in the series when it came back, there were consequences to bringing people back from the life. Somebody had to either trade their life, or it was possibly the end of the world if you did it. And I think because we've seen so many people come back to life in this universe with zero consequences, if Chris Evans' Captain America does die, as long as there's consequences to bringing him back, I don't mind if he gets brought back. If it brings about an Asgardian Ragnarok, or could possibly do that, there's got to be stakes in there. And that's why I think it could work.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's a great theory. You really blindsided me with that one. Good job.
Boom!
Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
All right, Trilbee. Well then, if that's the case, I think that's good for the movie news. However, we did have some homework.
Uh-oh. I didn't study.
This week, each one of you has a homework assignment. You're going to go out, you're going to start a fight with a total stranger. You're going to start a fight, and you're going to lose.
All right. So, the movie, homework. Trilbee, why don't you go first? Tell us about some of the movies that you've seen.
Well, Anomalisa and Kung Fu Panda 3 finally came out here.
All right.
You've already talked about them on the podcast before, so I'll very quickly touch on these.
We got time. We got time.
Kung Fu Panda 3 is... This franchise is absolutely terrific. It is the epitome of don't judge a book by its cover. Because I remember the first movie coming out and thinking, a Kung Fu Panda, voiced by the guy from School of Rock.
Yeah.
What is my life? But it was actually really, really good. And Kung Fu Panda 2 was, believe it or not, a vast improvement. It's got Gary Oldman as a terrific villain. It's got a sequence that makes everybody cry. And I just couldn't wait for Kung Fu Panda 3. I think it is the weakest of the trilogy, but it's still head and shoulders above many other animated films.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
It's absolutely gorgeous. This is DreamWorks' first movie as a co-production with China. They really heavily push the Chinese influence in this movie, and it gives it a different feel from the rest of the films. The spirit world is just gorgeously realized and pops on the big screen. Just the colour, it's superb. The cast are brilliant. J.K. Simmons is a lot of fun, but I don't think he's quite as good as Gary Oldman in terms of villains in Kung Fu Panda 2, which is strange because he's replacing Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, well, I think the thing with Gary Oldman is it's comedy. Gary Oldman was menacing, but he was able to have some charm to him. He's like, I have been dreaming about this thing for years, and I imagined it a little over to the left. I think that was a great line, and I will agree that the jokes J.K. Simmons all had pretty much fell flat, but you're right in terms of the animation style. I guess we're going to give spoilers now because Bandit's not here, so I can ruin it for you.
Just one more thing about Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
I think my favourite line of his in Kung Fu Panda 2 is when he reveals the cannon, because he introduces gunpowder, which is like the new weapon against martial arts and Kung Fu, because how can a fist stop a bullet?
Yeah.
He introduces the cannon, and it's like, what is that? Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a gift. It's a parting gift, in that it will part you.
Yeah.
A part of you here, a part of you there, part of you way over there, staining the wall. It's such a great line.
It's that's why I think two is my favorite, because it goes that dark. In a very this week it kind of feels like the Return of the Jedi. In terms of Kung Fu Panda 3 very much feels like the Return of the Jedi of this trilogy. It is definitely better than Return of the Jedi, but in terms of it feels the most lighthearted. It's the one that's it's the I think it's the cutesiest one. It has a lot of it's the one that's clearly, I think in terms of which one's marketed most towards children, this one seems to be. But
it's got the cute little baby pandas.
Yeah.
It relies more on slapstick than the previous ones. It's a different feel. It's still very good. It's still a great animated film. But I think when compared to 1 and especially 2, it's the weakest of the 3. But this is still a impeccable trilogy.
2 is one of my favorite animated films out there. 2 is incredible. But 3, however, I will say that I think 3 has specific moments that are the highlight of the entire trilogy.
And I think a lot of that, does that rely around Bryan Cranston's character as his dad?
Yes, when
it's so good.
When they're talking about what happened to his mother, and and he's retelling the story, and I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, Bryan Cranston is putting so much effort into this performance. I'm so proud of him. And and I'm welling up. I'm sitting here checking my trying to clear my throat, trying to drink some water, and then and I'm just like, oh my god, they're hugging. Oh, they made it up. And then what do I hear? Oh, give me a hug. That joke was the best. People clapped. I was clapping. That's the best scene in the movie for me. I love that scene. Like,
yeah.
Also the dragon bit was.
Ooh, yes.
That was when I was just like,
chitty chitty chat chat.
Yeah, but I loved when. And so, like, he goes to the spirit world, and, like, in Kambi's basically this form of an actual dragon. He has become the dragon warrior. At that point, I was just like, oh my god. I didn't know what to say. I was speechless. I'm like, I had no idea this was going to happen. I said this when I was talking to Bandit. The trailers for these movies always suck.
Oh yeah, DreamWorks. Yeah, that's how it goes.
DreamWorks
really
sucks. I almost swore. I think the trailers for How to Train Your Dragon were good. What did you think about How to Train Your Dragon 2, the second one?
I loved the first one a lot, and somehow the second one improved on it.
Okay.
And it was another father moment, another parental moment that pretty much made me bawl my eyes out in How to Train Your Dragon 2. And the trailers for that were terrific because that actually sold it as more of an action epic.
Yeah.
But that didn't perform too well at the box office. I actually remember I keep on saying Kung Fu Panda. How to Train Your Dragon 2 losing at the box office to 22 Jump Street at the same weekend, and that was an R-rated comedy sequel, whereas that was a family-friendly 3D action film. And I was really surprised, and I was disappointed that it didn't do as well as it really deserved to. It made it in my top 10 of the year, but I really look forward to the third one.
Yeah, I know they pushed it back a year to try to work on it even more, which I like because it shows that they're putting effort into it. The first How to Train Your Dragon is in my top 10 favorite films of all time. It's
wonderful.
I absolutely, without a doubt, love the first one. My thing with 2 is that as much as How to Train Your Dragon 2 actually made a lot more than the first. It made $621 million worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it must have had a big worldwide gross.
Yeah, it did okay. I think that might have been China as well. China loves those animated films. But I think, 2 for me, in the same way that Winter Soldier, when I first saw it, I was like, and it was okay. But the more I watch it, the more I picked up on it. And what I loved most about 2 is the world. 1 was great because of the relationship that Hiccup felt like a real growing character. Astrid felt like a real growing character. What's his name? Stoic felt like a real growing character. I'm so sick of animated movies just having archetype after archetype and calling it character, like Big Hero 6. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. How to Train Your Dragon is how you do character. Toy Story is how you do character. And so in the sequel, when it really more focused on when they focused on the world and the dragons and how people are interacting with the dragons, that was all great. It's when they went to the actual story that this kind of fell flat for me. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it, but I think it gets better the more I watch it. But that's How to Train Your Dragon. But Kung Fu Panda 3 is really incredible.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying it's exactly a Toy Story style trilogy. It's not quite on that level, but I still think we do have one of the rare trilogies in which all of them are at least good.
Yeah,
we've got 3 very, very good movies, in fact. And even though I think the third one is the weakest, I'm still going to give it 4 stars. It's still really, really good.
I'd go 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I think when I got to see it about a week early before it came out in the US. I got a screening, and I posted a selfie online. I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. And I know that. And you mentioned the Toy Story trilogy. This is a controversial opinion. I don't like Toy Story 2. To be fair, I haven't revisited it since I was a little kid. But growing up, Toy Story 2 was always my least favorite of the trilogy. 3 is again one of my all-time favorite movies, and I love the first one as well. It's what got the ball rolling for Pixar. But 2 for me, just it was just slow for me. I didn't like 2. Maybe I have to go back and rewatch it now. But I think
it might be worth revisiting because 2 is definitely the slowest of the trilogy.
It's the most adult.
Because it's a lot of it is mainly set in just an apartment block.
Yeah, it is. It's just set in a building. Yeah, I do like the Toy Story scenes. All those scenes with Barbie, when they drive past the Barbie dream house. I'm a married spud.
I'm a married spud. We
spud.
did that at the same time.
Yeah, that's the best. I was like, I wanted more of that. The comedy. Pixar knows that. Pixar and Toy Story does comedy so well. That was, I don't know, but I didn't. The Jessie bit didn't make me cry or anything. I was just like, whatever, but that's okay. I'll go back and watch. I'll make that my homework. Toy Story 2.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3, really good. It's on a completely different wavelength to the other movie that we just got in the UK, Anomalisa.
Yeah. You're telling me.
I actually had a double bill of this, a triple bill. I also saw London Has Fallen, which I don't really want to talk about. But Anomalisa it's one of those films that I thought was really good when I first saw it, and then a few days later it really stuck with me, and I just started picking up on small details that I remembered. It's such a gorgeous stop motion film about this middle-aged guy who is basically undergoing a very severe midlife crisis, or maybe something even more psychologically damaging.
Yeah.
And he's giving this talk in Cincinnati, and it's basically taking place over the course of like 12 to 16 hours.
Yeah.
And it only takes place in a handful of locations, and even though it is a very small scale movie, it benefits from the animation style. It benefits from the still frame stop motion, because it makes you emphasize on like every movement and every moment, which becomes very important when characters start talking, and words and the way people speak become very important and need to be emphasized later on in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna give spoilers here because we didn't get to give spoilers last time. We're gonna give spoilers now. Just for the sake that it's been out for quite a bit. So spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Time code's below.
Yeah, and also if you've not seen the movie already, chances are you're not bothered about Anomalisa.
Yeah,
it's one of those films.
Okay, but okay. So Anomalisa, when I first saw it, my first thought was, this is really pretty, but I don't really get the big deal. Oh my god, I understand. Wow, whoa. Yeah. Oh, what? Wow. Oh. And then the movie's over, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like that was me during Anomalisa. Like, you know, from the start, you know, I noticed right away that it's everyone else besides the two leads are voiced by the same guy, and I told that to Bandit when we were talking about him. Like,
yeah, it's tough to explain.
It's all the same voice actor. Bandit, when he first saw it, he thought it was lazy, and then eventually he understood what they were trying to go for. I thought it was just clever. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. That was a different take on it. But man, that was like, that voice got so unsettling to me by the time the movie was over. It's weird.
It's the type of voice that is very, like, no offense to Tom Noonan who does the voice, it sounds very generic, and also it sounds formal and polite, but also kind of cynical, and it's tough to kind of describe exactly the type of effect that voice has, but the fact that it encompasses so many characters because it makes everything so intentionally drab and a very pessimistic
world.
Like,
if they had a category for best voice actor, I would give the award to Tom Noonan, because he for me, like, and I said this to Bandit, you know, what they were able to do was, you know, when a girl was talking, you would hear Tom's voice, but you would think that it felt like a girl was talking to you, and like he was able to capture certain mannerisms, like when David, or whatever his name is, it David, or what is this guy, the main character's name? Michael, yeah, when
he's voiced by David
Thewlis, yeah, Lupin. When Michael is talking to his ex-girlfriend, they're talking, and you're just like, that's not Tom Noonan. That is a woman talking to me, but it's Tom Noonan. So like, it just gets weirder and weirder, and as it kind of goes along, and like it kind of makes this weird like left turn at Albuquerque when suddenly he goes to talk to one of the managers of the hotel, and then out of nowhere it goes crazy, and you're just like, what is he talking? What's going on? And then he starts running down the hallway, and half his face falls off, and I'm like, that's a weird breaking the fourth wall moment.
When his face breaks off, his mouth says something. Did you catch what it said?
I was too busy freaking out. I dropped my phone.
Yeah, so was I. I missed it.
I dropped my phone. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what did happen? Like, what just happened? Yeah.
I think the moment the Tom Noonan casting really, really hit home what the movie was going for was when he goes through the phone book to try and connect to an old flame who he left like 10 years ago. And he's talking on the phone, and the same voice that he's been hearing for the past 20 minutes answers the phone. He doesn't know who he's talking to. He doesn't recognize voices. Yeah. Everything is just blended into him. Yeah. And then at the end, if we're doing spoilers, at the end when he gets to the party and he doesn't recognize anybody, this is... oh, it's so good.
Like his 6-year-old boy, like his precious child walks up to him, and it's Tom Noonan's voice. And I don't know about you, but I'm just like, you stay away from him. Like, I I was so...
And give him the weird Japanese toy.
Yeah.
I actually
Michael,
thought
is that semen? Is that semen, Michael? I was like, oh my god. Like, this movie...
What's semen? It's just a fluid.
I was like, jeez. Yeah.
I actually do think that the adult humor was a bit off base. Like, there's like a scene where he goes into a toy store, quote unquote. I think that was a bit superfluous. I don't know, like, it didn't quite gel for me, really. It just felt kind of out of place and felt like a reason to make the movie feature length.
Yeah.
But it's interesting in that Anomalisa started life as a sound play where people would go to a theatre and they'd watch the three actors just read the lines of dialogue.
Okay.
There'd be no performance. It'd just be like watching a radio production.
Oh, okay.
And then it became a Kickstarter. They wanted $400,000 to make a 40-minute film. The Kickstarter was raised successfully, and then the movie got additional funding to make it feature length.
Okay, well, it shows. It shows.
The co-director of this is Duke Johnson, and he worked on a program called Moral Oral. Have you heard of it?
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's trippy.
It is.
It's trippy.
You can tell it's from the same like creative vision, and I think that Anomalisa is one of those really clever subversive movies in that it gets you into the headspace of this character so sublimely in like the first 20-30 minutes, and then when he starts acting pretty much deplorable and really behaving very badly to like in the middle towards the end of the movie, you don't like him or agree with him, but you're in his headspace so much that you feel sorry for him, you sympathize with him, because he essentially starts what is, for all intents and purposes, a predatory relationship. He's being really shallow in a sense with this person who he's just met, taking advantage of this woman who with a really meek demeanor. But you get it. You don't have to like it, but you get it.
I looked at it as more of you're watching a man slowly go insane. Like, you're watching a man slowly losing his sanity. Like, from the get-go, he's like something. He knows something. You know something's off because it's all the same voice. But by the time the movie's over, he has no one. I think there's a bit of hope at the end, of course. Whenever you read the notes, and when she reads the note, it's back in Jennifer Jason Leigh's voice. But
that's because that's the way that she sees the world.
Yeah, she sees the world as because I can't tell. Was it Tom Noonan? Did Tom Noonan speak whenever he was in the car with her friend?
I don't believe she spoke at all.
Okay, because it's very bright, it's very shiny. What I liked most, I think one of my other favorite scenes in the movie. Is when they're talking at the breakfast table, and
that's where everything changes.
And her voice starts to form into Tom Noonan's voice. And I won't lie, Trilbee, I won't lie. I cried a little. I got a little emotional. I was just like, "Why are you doing this to me?"
See, I have a bit of a theory as to how that happens, and it's basic. It's so subtextual that it could be down to interpretation. But I think that starts happening. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that starts happening when he starts ordering her about, where he tells her to stop clanging the fork against her teeth, when to stop eating with her mouth open, and when you can sense that the connection's
broken. The connection's broken.
The connection's broken because he broke it. What he did was that he started to strip away the things that make her her.
Yeah.
The
idiosyncrasies
and stuff that made her. Yeah. So when that started happening and the voice became like everybody else's, he had no one to blame but himself. So does this guy deserve the loneliness that has been imposed on him?
Exactly. You're watching. You're just like, huh. Maybe he deserves to be alone. Maybe because he's not nice to anybody. He's not nice to any because at first, when he talks to his ex, when he talks to his ex, you're like, wow, she's being kind of mean. She's being kind of subversive. But I think it's because she sensed the old Michael that broke up with her still there, and so she got out of there as quickly as she could. Which is weird because Michael clearly messed up this woman's life. And so I like how we're doing the whole spoiler cast on Anomalisa.
But it's worth talking.
It's really good. It's
got a lot there.
It's really good, and I think that what makes this movie so special is that A, it's the style, and B, it pulls no punches. It subtly pulls no punches. Because you can just watch this by yourself and be like, oh, this is really boring. But if you pay attention and you pick up on some of the little nuances, you're like, man, there's so much going on here. Also, I've never been more slightly freaked out than when I saw stop motion penis. That made me a little bit, I won't lie, I got a little uncomfortable there.
But even that, like, it's a sex scene, but it's not titillating.
Oh, I'm talking about
I'm talking
about when he gets out of the shower. You know, and he sits naked on the bed. I'm just like, that's odd, but that's whatever.
But there's the sex scene that happens in the movie, and it actually picks up just the awkwardness that can come from that situation. It feels very human, despite the fact that it's two puppets. This isn't Team America.
That's what I said. I was like, man, I'm like, Bandit, you're not gonna believe this, but it's puppets. He's like, it's puppet sex, and he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's not, but it's not Team America, Bandit. It's like legit love. I'm just like, oh, okay, all right.
What the directors did was that they got together some actual porn stars, some adult actors, to recreate that scene, so that they could like have a frame of reference for the animators. And what happened was that the female porn star actually did hit her head on the side of the bed, which made it into the final movie. But in the original stage audio play, it would just be David Lewis and Jennifer Jason Leigh just making moaning sounds at each other from across the stage, which was part of the humor, apparently. That's what I've heard.
I couldn't do that with a straight face. I just be laughing the whole time because I have the mind of a 12-year-old.
One of my favourite scenes is when Lisa, Anomalisa, as she's dubbed in the movie, sings "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." Yeah, and even though it's not exactly a great performance singing-wise by design, by intention, the fact that we have this moment after hearing nothing but Tom Noonan for like half an hour, it puts you in the headspace of the main character. Yeah. And it's so subversive and clever, and while I do not mind that Inside Out won Best Animated Film at the Oscars last year, if Anomalisa did end up winning, I would have been...
I was actually pushing for Anomalisa to win. Like, that's who I wanted to win.
I still prefer Inside Out, but if Anomalisa had won, I would have thought it would have been interesting for an adult stop-motion animated movie.
In the same way that I give Mad Max, I would give Mad Max Best Picture for the achievement of like how you make that movie. I would give Anomalisa for the achievement, because Inside Out's great. Inside Out is clearly the better movie. It clearly tells the better story. It's clearly the more creative, the more inventive. I get better made movie, but Anomalisa just is such a film that has such detailed craft that this movie needs to get more love, and I figured Best Animated Feature would do that. And you're right, that Girls Just Want to Have Fun moment's just like, man, this is the first time he's hearing another voice in maybe years. Like, it's crazy. And so, what was I gonna say? So whenever he's walking down the hallway and he stops because he hears a voice that's not Tom Noonan, you're just like, wait.
Oh, sweet relief.
Yeah,
because the audience. I
was going to say the audience, because I was just like, what was that? What was that? Like, I thought someone was in my room. Like, excuse me, hello. And then like you walk out and you hear, and like her friend answers, and it's Tom Noonan. And he's just like, oh, never mind, excuse me. And then you hear Lisa's voice, and you're just like, oh, yay. But, I think that Anomalisa, it's a very special movie.
It is really good. And it does feel like if this was done as a live-action film, it would lose something. I think the fact that it is these masks, that is stop motion, that these character designs are rather, for lack of a better term, frumpy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, they are a bit pudgy and a bit human.
Well, they look like real people. Everyone in the movie is a supermodel. These look like real actual people. You know, not every girl's gonna be Megan Fox. You know, she's gonna look a little frumpy. That's just how people look these days. And so it makes sense that. I guess my biggest compliment I can give the movie is that it really is an experience. And it's not like a Mission Impossible or an Avengers. It's an experience in that, like a movie like Her. When you watch it, you're just like, wow, I did not expect that. That's why I think I don't know if you ever heard of the YouTube channel Your Movie Sucks, but he gave this movie a lot of praise. I think he gave it a 10 out of 10, which he never does. And the last time he gave a movie a 10 out of 10 was the movie Her. And I'm like, he must have a very specific type of liking movies, and where he very much likes these kinds of movies, which I don't put past him. I really enjoyed Anomalisa, probably in my top 10 of last year if I had saw it in time to put it on the show. But that's Anomalisa. Okay.
Yes.
Do you watch The Walking Dead?
I've played the Telltale games.
Never mind. We will talk Walking Dead next week when Bandit returns.
I don't have time for TV. Too many films.
I understand. Okay, let's briefly talk about movies I saw, because we gotta get to our main topic.
Yes. Sorry to take up so much time.
No, it's okay. I still have plenty of time. Okay. I decided to go on a bit of Quentin Tarantino high this week, so I sat down and watched Django Unchained. You've seen it, of course.
I love almost everything about it until it gets to like 20 minutes near the end.
Oh, see, that's my favorite part.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Granted, whenever they do take out Christoph Waltz, it is unfortunate because you really do feel that hole missing because those two dynamics was really great. But like when Christoph Waltz is like, he's like, you're going to let $12,000 go because I won't shake your hand, and Leo DiCaprio really just trying to earn that Oscar. I insist. And then he walks over, and then the gun flies out of his wrist. Bah! I was like, yes, die. And then he gets blown in the bookshelf. But I don't know. I really enjoy Django Unchained. It's a really funny movie too.
I like the way you die, boy.
Yes, that's one of the best lines. I like the way you die, boy. And I think the difference between a movie like this and Hateful Eight is that the violence. I think the violence is all justified. In that, while Hateful Eight, I think gets a little too ridiculous towards the end because the violence is so rambunctious, it's so out there. I think Quentin Tarantino's violence, I think Django Unchained's violence I'm completely okay with because everyone that is, for the most part, is being shot and being taken down are terrible, terrible slave owners. Or no, thank you. And so I'm down. Like, when he takes down the three brothers. And, like, they have that little exchange about what the word positive means and shoots him when the blood hits the cotton. Like, just beautiful shots. And Leo DiCaprio, of course, is wonderful. So, yeah, I watched that movie twice this week, actually. I finished it the first time. I was like, I gotta watch that again. So
how do you find time? It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah, so that's 6 hours on my week that I could have been used to homework, but I was watching Tarantino movies. And then I said, well, here's a movie I've never seen in its entirety. Let me watch it. And I sat down and watched Inglourious Bastards.
So good. That's actually my favorite Tarantino movie, to be honest.
Mine's a tie between Pulp Fiction and Django Unchained. But that's okay. You want to tell me what you love so much about Inglourious Bastards?
Well, I'm kind of biased because it was the first one that I really saw all the way through with an adult perspective.
Okay.
So I have a natural attachment to it, but I prefer that solid structure, whereas Pulp Fiction sort of meanders about for a bit. It's terrific. I love Pulp Fiction, but I prefer that solid structure that Inglourious Bastards has.
Inglourious Bastards, it's a movie. It's a movie. It goes through.
Yeah, it's more conventional, which kind of makes me boring, I guess.
No, you're fine.
But it's got the ensemble cast are terrific. Yeah. I love, of course, you've got to talk about Christoph Waltz's Oscar-winning performance in that movie.
I didn't think he was all that great in this one. Maybe it's because I saw Django first in its entirety. I think he's so good in Django that when you see him here, you're just like, yeah, he's a sniveling bad guy. I've seen them all before. I might get a lot of crap for that, but I don't know. I see a red dot on my forehead. It's okay. I didn't say it was bad. I just said it was seen before.
That's okay. We'll just get your scalp.
And I want them scalps. That's Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt to me is the standout in this movie.
He's terrific. Yeah. And this was really the breakout role for Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. Oh.
Nobody really knew who he was until this movie.
Oh, he was that guy that had the best line in 300. Then we will fight in the shade. I love that line in 300.
There's the great line when he's about to die. He's like, and what's his name? Stiglitz. It's like, say Avita saying to your nutty balls.
Oh yeah, he's like, what do you say about that, Captain? He's like, well, I don't know, Colonel. I've had a gun pointed at your ball since you've sat down. I was like, man, Tarantino. That talk about tension. Talk about a tension-filled scene. I didn't want the actress to die either. That was very upsetting to me. I do love the ending.
Yes, this might just be my masterpiece.
Yeah, I was like, that's really like Brad Pitt to me is really the standout of this movie. He's like, I speak the most Italian. Donnie speaks the second. You speak the third. I don't know Italian.
Arrivederci.
Yeah, I don't know Italian. That's why you're the third best. I'm like, oh, Tarantino's so. He's like, and this is and he speaks full Italian. He's just like, grazie. I'm like, Jesus, he's terrible.
Margheriti.
And
it turns out the guy who doesn't speak any Italian actually does the best.
Does the best, yeah.
Dominic DeCoco.
And then, like, Brad Pitt's over here is just like, grazie. It's like, jeez. So Gorlami. He's talking like Jeff Foxworthy. Yeah, he's I don't know if you get that reference. He's really, but Brad Pitt, like I said, he's a standout to me. He's the one that I go and watch this movie for if I ever go back and watch it again. I'll just watch the scenes with him. Each of you have the dip. Each of you owes me 100 Nazi scalps. And I want my scalps. Like, that's Oh, it's a good one. Okay.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson narrates as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is just a terrific touch.
Yeah, Sam Jackson, the narrator. But Inglourious Bastards, I guess if I were to give Django, I give Django like a 9 out of 10. I'll give Inglourious Bastards an 8 out of 10. Just because...
Ooh, that's a bingo!
That's a great line. That's a really good one. Ooh, that's a bingo. That's like Christoph.
You just say
Waltz.
bingo.
Oh, yeah. That also reminds me of Django Unchained, a great line Christoph Waltz had when he's talking about Alexandre Dumas, and then he turns to Leo DiCaprio. Alexandre Dumas was black. I don't know, just like the disdain that comes across. Like, I've never seen like that was the first time I remember seeing Dr. Schultz look legitly like just disappointed in someone's face. He's just like, you are clearly just a monster. It's time to take you down. And I don't know. I really love Django Unchained. But
oh yeah, I think DiCaprio is terrific in that.
Oh yes,
I think he should have been the supporting actor nominee.
I don't know,
for that
man.
film.
Christoph Waltz is great in that one.
Oh yeah, he is, but I think he was better in that than he was in The Revenant, but I think he was beher in everything than he was in The Revenant. So.
The Revenant, the award for best crawler and screamer goes to Leonardo DiCaprio. No, but
we digress.
Yeah, I loved that 8-minute monologue he had. You know, he smashes the skull, gets actual blood on his hands. You know, there's been a lot of lies around him. He's at the table here tonight. You know, it's like, oh my god. And at the end, he's like, now if you'll excuse me, I will be in the parlor. For we are having white cake. And then he throws the hammer on the table. I'm like, Jesus. That's so good.
You have my curiosity.
Now you have
my attention.
Yeah, or whatever. He's like, I'm curious. What makes you such a Mandingo expert? And it turns out, I'm curious what makes you so curious. Yeah, Django Unchained is Quentin Tarantino won best original screenplay. And I think deservedly so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jamie Foxx is terrific in Django.
Yes, he is. Jamie Foxx provides really good work. Okay. That's the homework segment.
Superb.
All right. So, let's get to our main topic.
And now, our feature presentation.
We had our main topic today. We're going to be talking, which is a shame because Bandit would have loved to have been here for it.
It's his own fault.
Well, damn. Okay, so today we are going to be talking the ambiguous endings in a movie. So, I guess what that inclines is that, you know, we'll be going over some of the film's most ambiguous endings. I guess for starters, we should probably talk about, let's do Inception. Okay.
It's just pretty much the big recent example that everyone at least knows about.
Yeah, Inception. So, I guess we should try to answer the question. So I guess a good way to do this was to be, there's really ultimately two sides in terms of ambiguous endings, usually whether something is or isn't. So, Trilbee, is DiCaprio dreaming or is he not?
I think that he is not dreaming, because I think the movie ends at a very adequate place, and I don't... and I think that the whole point of Inception is that he's going to such incredible lengths to get to his children, and as conventional as it is, I'm happy with the happy ending that he did finally get there.
But this is Christopher Nolan.
Nolan! Shakes fist.
Lindelof! No,
Barrow Man!
Okay, now, there is actual legit proof, if you watch the movie, that says that he is not dreaming. One, Christopher Nolan said it doesn't matter, so that's not a real answer. But two, his wedding ring. There was a theory going around about his wedding ring in that he only has his wedding ring on when he's dreaming, because his wife is still with him. Whenever he's in the real world, he no longer has his wedding ring on his finger. And if you go and watch the ending scene of Inception, which is so masterful, he does not have his wedding ring on. So, plus, when the top spins, usually it's at a very steady kind of motion and kind of stays still, very steadyful. But in this one, when he spins the top, it kind of topples over. It kind of topples over. It like you see it like wiggle, and that never usually happens when it spins normally. So he's not dreaming.
But there was you mentioned it earlier that Christopher Nolan himself said that the point of the ending is that because Cobb is walking away from the spinning top to greet his children, it doesn't matter anymore. All it matters is that he's found his children, and that the top, whether or not it is a dream or not, doesn't matter at all.
Exactly.
I think that that's a bit silly, considering the fact that the final shot is the ambiguity. I think if he wanted to go for that approach, I'm telling Christopher Nolan what to do. If he wanted to go for that ambiguity, he should have just had it maybe in the corner and just not the focus of the frame. But then again, I've not made Interstellar, so what can I say?
Well,
sometimes thoughts of my dead wife manifest themselves as trains.
Your dead wife. Hey. Oh boy, yeah. In talking about Inception as a movie as a whole, that ending just in its entirety is it's so great. Like, Hans Zimmer's score is maybe at its best. Like, you know, and the way I didn't think that I was on a plane. Like, you forget that you're on the plane during the entire Inception. Like, I remember when I first watched Inception, and it cut back to them on the plane. I'm just like, oh, right, this was all a dream. They were all dreaming. I completely forgot. And then, like, it kind of gives you that feeling of, like, wait, what happened? But the movie doesn't waste any time being like, oh, yeah, I remember we were all dreaming. Remember, he made that deal. It's all done in looks. And, like, hey, man, remember we had a deal? And so he makes a phone call. He's like, oh, man, I'm going home. And I don't know. What do you think about the ending to Inception?
In general, or the ambiguity?
Yeah, in general.
I think that it builds to just a wonderful conclusion, and when he has that confrontation with his wife, and Ellen Page's character, whose name I forget, goes on without him, so he can face his demons, and that he can finally come to terms with everything that's happened. It's great use of metaphor that I think Interstellar kind of dropped the ball on slightly. I think it went a bit too far.
I disagree.
Well, because Inception is Christopher Nolan making basically his perfect amalgamation of a movie. It is his vision through and through, whereas Interstellar feels like him trying to make a Steven Spielberg movie, and I don't think the styles really gel. But in a sense,
I thought it was him trying to make. I thought he was trying to make a Kubrick movie, because it's true. Spielberg was set to direct the movie before he left. A couple of years prior.
Visually, he takes a lot of cues from Kubrick, but in terms of the emotional nature of Interstellar and, you know, the daughter...
It's very family-oriented, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, in a sense, I just feel like Nolan is a lot more at home in terms of his use of metaphor in Inception.
Yeah.
But I like Interstellar a lot. I just think that Inception is the Christopher Nolan movie that sums him up as a creator, as an auteur. Whereas he feels a bit restrained by Batman, I think.
Okay.
As in, I think The Dark Knight is his best movie. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I just think that he is not. He thinks he's a bit above Batman as a franchise, as a
filmmaker. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, of course, it resulted in terrific movies. But I think Inception,
two terrific movies and a pretty good one.
Exactly. I think with Inception, it is basically a metaphor for himself as a filmmaker and how he interprets film structure, how he interprets linearity, and how he crafts his set pieces. I think Inception sums up. I think Inception sums up Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
In a sense, and it is a terrific film. It was nominated for Best Picture justifiably. So DiCaprio better here than he was in The Revenant, but that's neither here nor there.
I think he's a lot more subtle in this movie too, DiCaprio. I think he's very much more he's much more reserved, much more held back in this one than he is in a lot of other roles.
I think Inception was the moment in DiCaprio's career where he was able to finally get over the shackles of being a Titanic pretty boy, because he'd done some great work. Well, he'd done some great work previously, like over the past decade, some Academy Award nominated work. But in terms of the mainstream, because Inception is the most successful movie he has ever been in terms of box office gross. I think it's at least up there. And I think this was when the mainstream.
Are you talking about DiCaprio? Because he did a little movie called Titanic that made $2 billion. So I'll give you second biggest film probably, because
his most successful one since Titanic.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I meant.
I think in terms of the mainstream, you might be right, but I know he did Departed like 4 years before. He did Departed, which is turning 10 years old by this year, which is crazy. Blood Diamond was great. Aviator, but it's really the public's.
It's the public's perception. Like Shutter Island came out a couple of months before Inception. I think he was terrific in that as well. Yeah. Catch Me If You Can.
I'm not saying that. Catch Me If You Can. I love that movie.
And I think that, of course, he did do terrific work before Inception, but I think that this was the moment where he kind of solidified himself as a not just a pretty boy, someone who could do these big prestige blockbusters.
I think that's around the time the Oscar thing started for him. I think that people were just like, he should get an Oscar. He was good. He's been good in everything. I think that was when people were just like, hey, he's really good. And then he did J. Edgar. People were just like, ooh, never mind. And then he did Django. We were just like, oh man. Then he did Wolf of Wall Street. We were like, oh, just give the guy his Oscar already. Come on. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was. Inception was the beginning of that bloody meme.
Yeah. Yeah, but Inception, you really struck in. I remember back when the movie first came out, because for many people that don't know, Inception is my second favorite film of all time. It's right up there with It's up there with The Dark Knight for me. So clearly, I'm a big Nolan fan. But that doesn't mean I can
biased.
That doesn't mean I can't acknowledge you did something wrong. Interstellar has its problems. Dark Knight Rises has its problems. But I still really liked. I really love Inception. But my thing with you were right about the whole filmmaker thing, because like even the way the team is set up, it's like you have your director, you have your set design, you have your cinematographer, you have your actors, and I remember reading about this thing that says that the team is set up like a film crew. So maybe you're really on the nose there with this whole Inception. Is Nolan trying to show off how his mind works as a filmmaker, literally as a filmmaker.
Well, this was a passion project that he did because The Dark Knight was so successful.
Yeah, he had it planned since like Insomnia, before Insomnia was out, right?
Because Hollywood likes to do a if you do one for me, we'll do one for you.
Yeah, you scratch
make us
back.
$1 billion.
You scratch back, I scratch yours. Yeah.
Yeah, you make $1 billion doing The Dark Knight, we'll let you do Inception.
Yeah.
You do The Dark Knight Rises, you can do Interstellar, etc., etc. It's like Michael Bay. I can't believe I just compared Christopher Nolan to Michael Bay, but you make us $1 billion with Transformers, you get to make Pain and Gain. You do it again, you get to make 13 Hours.
I didn't see 13 Hours. Was it good?
I've not seen it yet either.
Okay.
It was, because it's a big American patriotic thing, it really slipped by the UK. It didn't do too well.
Okay.
Also, Inception is really the reason you know who Tom Hardy is in the mainstream. Like, he had done work before, Star Trek Nemesis, Rock and Roller, Bronson.
Yeah.
It was
the first time I saw him. Well, actually, I remember my grandma showed me Bronson when I was like 9 years old. Of course, I got scarred for life, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but that was the first time I remember seeing Tom Hardy was in the movie Inception. And I remember Inception, and I always tell the story of when I saw The Dark Knight. I don't know if you were here for this, but my story with The Dark Knight is that I was 8 years old. It was my first midnight premiere. My parents took me to go see The Dark Knight because I was a big Batman fan. And when it was over, I turned to my mom and I said, "Mom, I want to do that." And she said, "Make movies?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to make movies." And then that. Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just that movie for me was a year later with District 9.
Oh wow.
That was when I saw District 9. That was the movie that made me think I want to do that. Like, I loved The Dark Knight. It's a freaking masterpiece.
Yeah.
But District 9 sort of really struck a chord with me.
It's
I
great.
think it was a right place, right time thing for me emotionally.
I think it should have won Best Picture as opposed to Hurt Locker or Avatar. I think it should have won.
Yeah.
Maybe was Up in the Air nominated? Was that
yeah? Yes, it was. It was the first year.
It's Up in the Air.
It was the first year that there were 10 nominees in response to The Dark Knight.
Right. Because that was a great year for movies, man. We got Up, we got District 9, Up in the Air. Up in the Air. George Clooney is that's
terrific,
beautiful film. What was I going at here? Oh yeah, and so
Tom Hardy, was it?
Oh, I was going to mention Dark Knight briefly. Then I got my camcorder that summer or that Christmas.
Superb.
And so, but when I saw Inception was the first time I understood what filmmaking was. Inception was the first time I watched the movie and I said, "Oh, okay, so look at the way the camera works. Look at the CGI. Look at the different actors." That's when I was just. And to me, I'm trying to add more to your point about how Nolan is trying. Sorry, go ahead.
Inception is the type of movie that you study to learn how to do exposition.
Yes.
Like the scene when Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Ellen Page are on the stairs that never stop. Like, that's such a great way to get across the exposition and the dynamics of... Because Inception is really original in a sense. It's tough to explain. It's original... But you need to explain such an original concept to the average moviegoer because it's not really drawing parallels with other material. And the fact that Inception was able to resonate and hit a mainstream audience just shows that it was able to effectively communicate its themes, its ideas, and the science mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see. I think that's everything on Inception. We agree that he either isn't dreaming or it does not matter. I like how we refuse to think that he is dreaming. Okay.
Yeah, we want to be happy.
Yeah.
Just let him see his kids.
Okay. You've seen Blade Runner. Of course, you've seen Blade Runner. Blade Runner.
Not for a long time.
When was the last time you saw Blade Runner?
Roughly 10, 12 years ago.
Gee, really?
Yeah.
Tell you what, we're gonna skip over Blade Runner.
Well, you can say.
Well, because
I'll just smile and nod.
Well, here's my thing with Blade Runner is that I saw it for the first time in its entirety back in like September or October when we did our Ridley Scott episode. I watched it as the homework assignment for the week. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a nice time watching it. I can really see how innovative it is. I can see how influential it is in the overall cinema world. But my thing was that, you know, I never once picked up that Harrison Ford was possibly going to be a replicant. Like, I never understood where that theory stemmed from. I was always just like, sure. So in terms of like in terms of whether or not he is a robot or a replicant, or whether or not he's a human or not, I'm like, I don't really know, and I didn't really care. I really don't think that was the point of the story.
Yeah, if from recollection, it feels like Harrison Ford's character, the movie doesn't benefit from him being a replicant. It doesn't add anything. At least I don't think it does. But once again, it's been at least a decade since I've seen the freaking thing.
And so maybe I need to go back and watch it with this in mind. I'm like, maybe, I don't know.
Well, aren't there like 6 versions of it?
Well,
so
I know
really
I watched. I think I watched the original theatrical cut. I don't know. Apparently that's not that good one. I don't know.
As long as we watch it before the new one comes out, so we've got like 10 years.
Yeah, it's coming out January 2018, unfortunately, but that's whatever. But they got Denis Villeneuve, who, in my opinion, hasn't made a truly great movie, but that's whatever. Did you see Prisoners?
Oh, I love Prisoners.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's another ambiguous ending.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about Prisoners.
Let him be saved. For God's sake, this movie's so freaking grim.
That's my biggest problem with this movie, is that it's grim to the point of it being annoying. It's like, it's literally the definition of Murphy's Law. Of like, well, is there a problem that can happen? Then it's gonna happen. Like, no, I'm done. And then people are just like, well, that's the real world. I'm like, no, it's no. No, thank you. No, thank you. I couldn't do it. Like, it's like that scene in Cop Out with Tracy Morgan in the car. No, heck no. I can't do it. Like, I was so mad. I was like, what is this movie about? And then they just ended. I'm just like, no, I can't. And then I saw Sicario, and I wasn't impressed either. I was like, Sicario, like, that was boring. I was bored.
Yeah. I liked Sicario, but I loved Prison. Okay, I didn't love Prisoners. That's the wrong word, because it is pretty grim. But no,
you had a great time watching Prisoners. Or you think Prisoners is a great movie? Like it
was a laugh riot. No, Prisoners.
See, that's me with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I'm like, man, that's depressing as all heck, but it's a really good movie. I
think it's incredibly well assembled. I think the music and the cinematography are terrific. I love Hugh Jackman is a brilliant everyman who essentially is sort of in another movie, in a conventional version of Prisoners, he would be the hero. He's got like a gun supply and this fallout shelter in his basement. He would have been the hero, but he becomes incredibly dark and twisted by his own sense of justice. And I think that as grim and as immoral as he behaves, I think that the movie does need that little glimmer of light, which I think that ambiguous endings are best when it doesn't matter how it ends. It doesn't matter which outcome, and that it's up to you. Because I think if the movie benefits in a subjective opinion from having one certain ending over another, I think that what's the point of the ambiguity? Just go for the better ending. I don't know. I think that's why the ending of The Thing is absolutely terrific, because it doesn't matter if one of them is an alien or not. I love that score. It doesn't matter if one of them is the Thing or not. It doesn't matter, because they're both gonna die anyway, and what matters is that to the end they still didn't trust each other, and they were willing to die for that distrust.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point of the ending. And if there was like, oh, it turns out the director said that neither of them were the alien the whole time, it's like, it doesn't matter.
They're probably going to freeze to death.
It's still true to those characters. It's true to the themes of the movie, much like The Hateful Eight. That's also an ambiguous ending in a sense.
You think?
regardless of whether or not they die, they sort of came together as villains for their own perverted sense of justice. It doesn't matter if they die.
Talking about frontier justice. I do like that. We're kind of going all over the place here, but that's a podcast for you. I do kind of like the foreshadowing. The foreshadowing that's given to that whole speech kind of sets up what essentially they're all their plan for going in there and taking out the Hangman to save Daisy is essentially frontier justice. And so when he goes in and Tim Roth's character, that is frontier justice. That's essentially setting that up. But going back to Prisoners, I like to think that even if Dover, who I think is Hugh Jackman's character's name, and Loki, who is Jake Gyllenhaal, even if Loki does find Dover, I think that he would arrest him on sight, and Dover would be in jail for the rest of his life, or he would let him go and tell him not to come back.
Which is why I'm not a fan of the ambiguity of the ending, because there is still more story that can be told from.
There's ambiguity among your ambiguity. It's like the movie ended 10 minutes too early, or something like that.
Yeah.
And we'll get to another movie like that ended that way. I do think that with Prisoners, Jake Gyllenhaal, that was the first time I saw him and said, "Oh man, he's really good." I liked him. Yes. I liked him in Prince of Persia and other movies that he was the generic white guy, but I was cool with it. But
even in Prince of Persia, he was the generic white guy.
But this movie was man, he's really good. He is showing out. I never saw Enemy, the Jake Gyllenhaal one about Denise Villeneuve. Apparently, the ending's a little freaky. I don't know what they're talking about though. I don't know.
Yeah, it went straight to demand in the UK, so I've yet to see it. I'm told that it is another pretty trippy movie. Okay.
Apparently it involves spiders, so I don't want to watch it. So.
Giant spiders.
Oh, no, thank you. Ew.
Giant room-sized spiders.
I'm sitting in a room, Trilbee. This is not helping.
The room is a spider.
Stop. Kylo Ren lightsaber, protect me.
And it's right behind you, but don't look because that will really piss it off.
That's something you tell a little kid, right? It's right behind you, but don't look. That'll make it mad. I say as I look slowly behind me, making sure that Babadook isn't in the corner somewhere.
Babadook. Oh, speaking of Babadook, I know this has not got anything to do with the subject, but I guess that I'd say, the pop-up book that they have in the movie.
Yeah.
Shortly after the film came out on DVD, the director of that movie, Jennifer Kent, she set up a online store where you could pre-order a signed copy of that book that they were going into production with. It cost $40 or something, and everyone would be signed. There would only be 1,000 of them made. Mine is getting delivered next month. And I cannot wait.
I'd like to offer an obituary to Trilbee. He foolishly... He did an Evil Dead style of stupidity thing in a horror film, and where he read Latin out loud, except he just read the book for Babadook. I can't use...
On my gravestone, I want "The film was better" to be engraved on there.
The book was better. Yeah,
the book of the Babadook wasn't as good as the film.
Yeah,
at least I survived it.
I'm a survivor. No, okay. So yeah, the Prisoner's ending was great. Another ending we have here, Gone Girl.
Yes. Oh, this is another ending in which it doesn't matter how it turns out, because these two characters are stuck in their own personal hell, which they have to live through to keep up appearances to the camera. Because Gone Girl is a subversion of basically just the pantomime that is living in suburbia, peer pressure, appearing good to neighbours and stuff, and the fact that they have to live that.
Before I saw Whiplash...
I apologise, I love Gone Girl.
Yeah, me too, I'm about to get into it. Before I saw Whiplash, this was strengthening with Interstellar as my favorite film of 2014. Eventually, it went to Gone Girl, and then I saw Whiplash, and it all was over. But, Gone Girl for me, I remember I went in knowing not much. I knew Neil Patrick Harris's character died because I looked up I looked up bits and pieces from the book, and so I knew that Desi got stabbed. But it's still shocking. So when you see Rosamund Pike slit Neil Patrick Harris's throat and blood just fall over her face, and the score is just going blah blah blah, and everyone's just sitting there going, what? Everyone's jaws dropping and just this is getting worse and worse and worse for everybody. Ben Affleck needs to get out of here now. And granted,
I think the biggest twist of Gone Girl is that Tyler Perry was awesome in it.
Oh my God, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
No one saw it coming. It's the perfect twist.
You see Quicksilver? I didn't see that coming. Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
No, keep talking about Gone Girl. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens after the events of Gone Girl. It's why I'm not bothered about a sequel, because these two have to have this pretend happy relationship, even though they know that they're both just the worst type of people, because they've gone through this highly publicized event. Everybody in the country knows who they are. They know their faces. So if they give the game away, they expose the other one. They expose themselves, and it's such a perfect metaphor, a perfect ending, and it does not need a sequel.
It doesn't need a sequel, but I would like to see it go on for 10 more minutes, please. Oh, Bandit's online. I'd like to see it go on for 10 more minutes, please.
Hello, Bandit. Thank you for joining us 2 hours into this podcast.
I would have passed him. I'm like, but it's like, my thing is the way they establish all these characters. Ben Affleck, there is no way Ben Affleck stays with that woman. No way. He
has to.
No way.
I think he has to, and I think that's sort of the beauty of the ending, because neither of them win. It's like The Thing, except suburbia and not the Arctic.
I mean, I just think that the way that this movie was set up, it's like, and granted, he probably does still love her, maybe, but I don't see this.
Well, he despises her. I think all of that love is gone.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. All the love is probably. I was so mad. I'm like, no, Ben Affleck, because I think the worst thing Ben Affleck did to her was cheat on her, which adultery is wrong. I will give you that. Cheating on your wife is not right. However, we are all human. We all make mistakes. This woman was physically and mentally controlling his life without him even knowing about it. And she ruined the life of another guy by calling him a rapist. And she committed murder. And she she talked about, this woman is clearly messed up in the head. It's not her fault. It's probably her parents' fault. But she's wrong. Rosamund Pike is the villain.
But if he leaves her, even if he is completely right, even if she's in the wrong, the public will completely chastise him.
Yeah.
He's going to be leaving someone who's perceived as a victim, going to be leaving because they're expecting a baby, even though she seems to have got herself pregnant.
I loved that. I loved when he opens the box. It's a pregnancy test, and he's like, and she's like, perfect. And he's like, you effing C word. And he threw her head against the back wall. People actually clapped in the theater. That I was just like, yes. Take her down, Batman. I was like, I can't believe I was so on board for Rosamund Pike to get her head bashed in. At that point, at the end, when Ben Affleck's like, I wonder what it's like to crack your skull open and look inside your head. And then in the reverse of this shot, you're just like, yeah. I wonder what it'd be like to crack your head open, Rosamund Pike. She was so good.
If Ben Affleck stays, he loses because he's going to be trapped in this miserable fake relationship. But if he leaves, he also loses because he's going to get destroyed by the public. And that's why Gone Girl has a perfect ending.
But does he love her? He might still love her.
He wants to crack a skull open. There's nothing more loving than that.
Well, it's like when his sister, who I think is really great as well, when his sister's when his sister's like, you still love her, don't you? And he looks like he gets a look of like, man, I probably still do. And I'm just like, oh, they're both attracted to, she's attracted to him because he's so easily controlled and he's easily manipulated. He's attracted to her because, do you watch Rick and Morty?
I want to.
It reminds you a lot of, if Bandit would be here, he'd laugh. He'd be like, it's like, you don't know who these are, but, the characters Beth and Jerry kind of remind me of the stuff from Gone Girl. Because he's somehow attracted to crazy, he's attracted to the spark of romance. He was going to leave her because he felt nothing but a drain of his life, and suddenly he has this re-spark, this re-crazy that he felt, this sense of she's smarter than he is that he got back when they first met, and so suddenly he wants to stay with her, and you're just like, no, Ben Affleck, don't do it. But
I think that at the end he has just a phenomenal admiration for it, as in, you actually had the balls to do all of this. I hate you for it, but Matt props.
It's like when a friend takes you down in chess, in 2 or 3 moves, you're just like, Oh, no, you're having fun without it. Like, I don't know. It just Gone Girl's a very, very exceptional film. Very credible ending. Ambiguous wise, I would like to see what happens 10 minutes afterwards. I want to see Ben Affleck leave her, but probably doesn't happen. They probably end up staying together, and she ends up probably happier than anybody. Okay, let's see. Let me find another. Let's see. We talked about yeah. Okay. Have you ever seen American Psycho?
I have, and this is, I hate to repeat myself, this is another ending where the ambiguity doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's insane. It doesn't matter.
I haven't seen it. So
okay. Spoiler.
No problem. No, it's okay.
Am I allowed to talk about it then?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go full regalia.
I'll go kind of broad strokes because it is one of those films that you kind of have to see. But American Psycho is this guy basically. He's so egotistical. He basically murders a guy because he has a better business card than him.
Hey, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jared Leto, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but Batman really did kill the Joker in the end. And he goes on these murderous rampages, and then at the end it just makes you wonder whether or not he actually did all of these things. But it doesn't matter because he's trapped inside of his own psychosis. He doesn't. The fact that the audience don't know puts you in the perspective of Patrick Bateman, who Christian Bale plays. It puts you in his perspective because it's sort of like I have no idea if everybody knows that I'm as insane as I want them to think. I'm rambling here. He wants everybody to know that he's insane and off the wall, and he wants to admit to these things that he probably didn't do. He didn't do, and he wants to have this reputation, but he doesn't know what's real anymore, and he's trapped in his own perpetual cycle of egotism, and that's why American Psycho has another brilliant ambiguity-filled ending that doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, I'm actually gonna add that to my homework as well. So
you're in for a fun time.
Yeah, Toy Story 2 and American Psycho is my homework this week, which I'm down.
That's going to be a fun double feature.
Suddenly making these realizations. Okay. Is that all you have to say about American Psycho? Because I think that's all the ambiguous films we have here.
There was one I wanted to talk about that's not in the list.
Go ahead.
Did you watch The Gift?
No. But I don't, and if you could try not to ruin this one.
Okay, all I'll say is that The Gift, once again, it doesn't matter if the thing happened at the end. It doesn't matter because it's the power of suggestion. And The Gift is a movie which talks about how important and how impactful words can be and how impactful ideas can be. Because there's a scene where there's like a bit of a scuffle, a bit of a fight, but the guy who's on the receiving end barely flinches or responds because he's been affected so much in the past by words that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never harm me. It's the other way around. You can break my bones, but you've used your words to hurt me so much that it doesn't matter. That these physical threats mean nothing. It's the words and the ideas that hold the power.
Yeah.
And the ending really goes full force with that concept. And the ambiguity, it doesn't matter what the ending is or what happens, for example, if the movie went on for another 5 or 10 minutes, because it's the power of suggestion. And that's all I'll say. The Gift is a incredibly good thriller. It's the movie that kind of solidified Jason Bateman as more than just a straight man in comedies. He's an exceptional dramatic actor in this movie. He has a speech around the end of the second act where he's talking to his wife, talking about how he doesn't feel responsible for the events that are happening and how he has to do these mental gymnastics to truly himself believe that he's innocent, he's the victim here. And it's such a brilliantly performed speech. He's so good in this movie. So there's a triple bill for you. The Gift, American Psycho, and Toy Story 2.
I'm gonna have a good week. I'm excited. Tomorrow I'm probably just gonna sit down and watch all these movies. All right.
Have Toy Story 2 in the middle. That would be a weird movie sandwich.
Yeah, make you feel, make myself smile. Yeah, like a compliment sandwich. Okay.
Exactly, but the filling is a fun family movie, and the rest are just dark, ambiguous, murderous thrillers.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that was a good talk on ambiguous endings. That went on for a little over half an hour. But then again, we had a big. We can essentially put Anomalisa into the ambiguous ending talk. Because
exactly.
So I guess maybe we can title this episode Anomalisa and Ambiguous Endings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And plus Civil War.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Civil War trailer took up like half an hour of talking. Okay, so Trilbee, you know what that means? It's time
What
for
does it mean?
It's time for the listener questions.
Whoa!
What? Trilbee. Trilbee?
I thought that was an actual question, so that's why I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Trilbee?
Yes.
You're doing really great. This is really fun. Congratulations.
I think you're doing good. I think we work well with each
That's
other.
what I'm saying, man. Good job.
Who needs Bandit? Just get rid of it.
Have you talked before we get back into this? Have you spoken to Sam from Sam anytime soon? Any recently?
Not recently. No. He's been really busy,
Of
but
course.
we message each other every so often.
All right.
It's been a couple of
I
weeks.
mean, I was trying to get all personal. I was just asking how things were going.
Oh no, it's okay. Well, yeah, we just haven't spoken much recently.
Right.
Why is there an issue? Or...
No. I was just asking. I was just curious.
Okay.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my interest.
No, it's because the way you were talking, it was like, okay, serious time. Was like, because Sam, he's been convicted of murder. So, what? No wonder he's not been talking to me.
cancer's back. Yeah, no, okay.
The cancer's in his liver, prostate, and brain. All the things
He lived without. Hey, yeah. Okay, guys. So this is the listener question segment.
Yeah.
Listener question segment.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
For you guys that don't know, on Facebook, we didn't do it this week because we had so many extra questions so we can look through here. But we have listener questions, in which case on Facebook we ask specific questions, or we ask you guys to ask us listener questions, and if they're good enough, we get you a shout out on the show and read them. So, let's start here on the Facebook page. I still need to get you access to the Facebook page, I'm sorry. So I'll look for... Yeah.
Why do you always put a wall between us?
You just started a war. Okay.
Yeah, it's a civil war.
Okay, Joseph Hudson asks, Would you like to see Disney do a live action remake of Peter Pan?
If they stuck to the source material,
Yes.
Because that book is actually from Wendy's perspective, and Peter Pan is really a supporting player in his own book, in a sense. This is a story about a woman going into adulthood, and all of the scary stuff that comes with it. And I think that is one reason. That would be one. That would
I
be
can imagine
one way.
like she's walk up to an elevator, and it's like, since it's all a metaphor for adulthood, she walks into an elevator and it's like The Shining.
Oh no! That would not be in the Disney movie. No way, shape, or form. Bad trait.
Sorry,
Bad mental
I
image.
had to.
That's not something I'm going to
had
think of
man.
again.
That's amazing. I had to. Okay.
No, but the Pan movie last year was an absolute mess,
Yeah.
and it was more disheartening for me because I actually went to the world premiere.
Yeah.
And I'm there on the blue carpet meeting all of the stars and everybody, and then I watched the movie, and it's like, oh.
Wait, so you met
shame.
Hubert Jackman?
Did you say Hubert Jackman?
Yeah, Australia's own Hubert Jackman. You met him?
No, I didn't meet him, but I saw him around.
Okay.
He was being interviewed by people who actually matter.
Did you meet any of the stars?
I did. I spoke very, very briefly to Rooney Mara, Garrett Hedlund, who was really, really nice, but he was terrible in the movie.
The name's James Hook. I'm Han Solo on drugs. Yeah.
And he's doing his best Heath Ledger. You want to know how I got this hook?
Yeah.
He's so...
TikTok. Yeah, keep going. No,
it's such a bad and disappointing film. But I think that the story of Peter Pan has been done so many times by companies other than Disney that the only way to make it different is to go back to the source material and make Wendy the main focus.
It's like, I think if Disney does the same sensibilities that they did with Cinderella, like,
that's a tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, you're telling. Yeah. The new Cinderella film was, I think, really great, and I think that's because they got Kenneth Branagh, who knows how to handle that kind of dialogue, who knows how to do the kind of Shakespearean-esque era of films, the Victorian-esque, and then you had Disney, who Bob Iger is not an idiot. He knows how to be a studio head to help shepherd filmmakers in the right direction to make their good movies. And so they were able to make a film that was essentially a remake of the 1950s animated film, but done so well, And so I think if they wanted, because I don't think that they can do it from Wendy's perspective. Just because if they're gonna go to the source material, they need to. I want them to make it dark. But they're not going to do it. It's Disney. Like the darkest. But to be fair, Maleficent was basically a date rape story. But I don't think they're ever going to. I don't think they're ever going to go that. Oh, did you see Maleficent?
I did, but thank you for reminding me that Maleficent was a thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like, Alice Through the Looking Glass is coming out. I'm not looking forward to that either. But it's like, yeah,
they had a daylight savings time trailer that looked so bad.
It's James Bobbin, not a good filmmaker. But
it's so mainstream it hurts.
Yeah, I feel like if they were to do Peter Pan, they would only. When I say dark, I mean like killing the Lost Boys when they get too old dark. That's what I'm talking about. But they won't do that because it's Disney. So I think maybe if you basically just try to go and remake the 1950s animated film and just do that again in the modern context, or modern in terms of like you do it with modern technology, I think that's how you do a really incredible Peter Pan movie.
But see, with Cinderella, that's a different type of movie, because while we do associate Cinderella with the Disney movie, that's because there haven't really been any other mainstream interpretations of that story.
Ella Enchanted. Hello, Anne Hathaway's own Ella Enchanted.
No, but I think that didn't take the name. It was Disney themselves doing it, but when it comes to Peter Pan, there have been many other adaptations. There's been like Return to Neverland. There was that Jason Isaacs Peter Pan movie from like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
There have been all of these other works. There was the Warner Brothers film from last year, which completely bombed.
Hook.
So yeah. I think, Hook. There have been so many other Peter Pan movies that Disney do not have the sole version of that character. They sort of share with all of these other ones, even if they do have like the most iconic version. So I think they would have to differentiate themselves if they wanted to stand out.
Well, it's like if Warner Bros. Were to go in and do another Wizard of Oz. I think it's because they have enough iconic stuff that are associated with Peter Pan that I think they could do it easily. But then again, that's just. Look, I could be wrong. Disney has like right now they're like 1 and 2 in terms of like good live action adaptations. Like Maleficent and Alice in Wonderland are not very good, but Cinderella is amazing in my opinion. So,
and I love Oz the Great and Powerful. I'm clearly in the minority.
Yeah,
but hey,
I'm not just saying that I like Cinderella because that was when I went on my first date with my girl. I'm not just saying that. But hey-o, good movie. Not the Frozen Fever short, but that's whatever. Okay, let's see if I find another question on here on the Facebook page. Okay, Tyler Clark, he says, "What are your hopes and fears for the Suicide Squad movie? Love the show." Thank you very much, Tyler Clark, and I love you.
Yeah, feel the love.
All right, so what are your hopes and fears for Suicide Squad?
My hopes and fears. I'm not sure where I stand on Suicide Squad. The last trailer was fun, but it was very, very Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really? I thought. I mean, it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It was just that it took similar. It felt like it was going for a similar tone. It took the older pop song. Of course, when you have Bohemian Rhapsody, it's one of the greatest songs ever.
Yes, it is.
Exactly. For Suicide Squad, my concern with that is that I don't really have any explicit concerns other than will the Joker actually be good?
That's my
concern.
That's my biggest
He's going to be a supporting character. Yeah. I have a feeling that Margot Robbie and Viola Davis are going to hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Will Smith. Jai Courtney surprisingly looks good, which... what?
Yeah.
Yeah. My concern is that they cannot manage the tone. The tone is going to be what causes Suicide Squad to live or die. Because David Ayer is a very pessimistic and very downbeat filmmaker. He's like if the movie Prisoners, if that was his career. Because Fury.
I was about to say Fury because first of all I love Fury. Bandit doesn't like it. He doesn't like how historically inaccurate it is. But I think
it's okay.
I really enjoy Fury, and I think that's because. I thought that the comedy as little as there were, I thought it worked really well. But I think what I liked most about Fury is that the dynamic that the team had. They felt like an actual team. They felt like brothers, essentially. And I think if you can carry that sensibility kind of over here to Suicide Squad in kind of like the reverse way of where... he's kind of in movies that are always about teams. Like he did End of Watch, which is basically the team of Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. You know, he did that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Sabotage, which is basically his team. He did Fury, and now he's doing this movie, which is essentially another team film. But I think,
with Fury, you had that scene in the German town which felt so tonally at odds with everything else that was going on and felt so really grim. And I'm worried that Suicide Squad, with all its bright colours, these bombastic characters, and that really frenetic trailer that we got a few months ago, is this going to add up? Is this going to be consistent, or is this just going to be Sociopath the movie? Which is my concern. I'm looking forward to it.
Have you seen the animated film Batman Assault on Arkham?
I have, and I think it's got one of the best Joker moments ever.
Yes.
Best gun ever.
I'm here, female dogs. Bang, bang, bang. I like that one. That was a good moment. I think what I like most about the Suicide Squad animated film is that the tone, again, they felt like none of them really liked each other at first, but they felt like they're just there because it's like a job. They have to work together, because if they don't, they die. And it felt like a heist movie. And so I think if you kind of capture that same feel, that same tone that they had in Suicide Squad, where they're all joking around with each other, but their situation around them is incredibly serious.
But Assault on Arkham did have the slight advantage of being based off of the Arkham video game template, where it was able to... It had that tone, it had the character designs and such.
Yes.
Will Suicide Squad, with all of these elements, fit into the DC cinematic universe, or will it just be... This is just the crazy corner that literally adds up to nothing else in this universe?
You're fearing it might be the Incredible Hulk of this DC cinematic universe, of where we kind of don't acknowledge it anymore, but it's still kind of there, maybe. I don't know.
I'm kind of thinking it would be like if the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's so tonally at odds with everything that the franchise does. Oh. I think that's because Suicide Squad from the trailers doesn't look like it exists in the same universe as Man of Steel.
See,
or Batman v
I think the Comic-Con trailer looks like it exists in the same... It might just be that song.
Possibly.
Because the Suicide Squad Comic-Con trailer, to me, looks like a Batman Superman kind of like... If that was like... If the shiny and fanciness of Gotham and Metropolis, this is like the slums, and these guys just kind of like doing something... I don't know. I feel like they fit in this... My biggest fear for me is Jared Leto's Joker. Not his performance, he's going to be great. Because Jared Leto's been great in pretty much everything. The guy won an Oscar for a reason. My concern... is, even though I think that probably would have gone to someone else. I think Jonah Hill probably deserved the year, but that's just me. I think...
Jonah Hill is the Joker?
No.
I
mean Jonah Hill in the Oscar that year, that race. Either Jonah Hill or Michael Fassbender were so great in 12 Years a Slave. But the look of the Joker still really bugs me.
Trey, is he damaged?
Shut up. No, but he's always smiling. Like, I just... but it's like, it's just those things, it feels like Jared Leto's trying really hard to be different, and it's bothering me. I'm sure when I see the movie, just like Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, I'm so sick of hearing that argument, by the way. Well, when everyone saw Quicksilver, they didn't like his costume, but then in the movie he was great. I'm like, yeah, he was great, but he still looks terrible. Just because he looks great, that's because he is great, doesn't mean his costume isn't crap.
And Quicksilver never really had a lineage in previous films, whereas Jared Leto, whether he's terrific or not, he is going to be compared to Jack Nicholson, Cesar Romero, and Heath Ledger, whereas Quicksilver, that was really the first time we saw him on the big screen.
Essentially, he looks a lot like this Jared Leto Joker, looks very similar to the New 52 kind of a Batman Endgame Joker, and where he does kind of have I don't know if you know who Macklemore is, but he has like a Macklemore-esque haircut and whatnot. And this one feels very much like if you've seen Chappie, he looks like Ninja from Chappie, who is part of the Antwood, which maybe Chappie put a bad taste in for that kind of look, but I don't want Joker to be a hoodlum. That's the last thing I want.
Yeah, he looks like his origin story involved him falling into a vat of Hot Topic.
Exactly.
It's not a good look, and I'd prefer to see the Joker in his coat, because he's got that fabulous purple overcoat. I prefer.
Though he does look great in that tux. That one scene where he's firing the machine gun and smiling. Like there are certain things that look like super Joker when he's on starting to the piano keys and the knives and whatnot. And his laugh.
Well, it feels like the community came up with better concepts for this Joker than the actual filmmakers did. Because when he had the silver teeth, the photo was revealed. Everyone was like, "Oh, maybe it's because he's been punched by Batman so many times. He wants to retain that smile."
Like Batman knocked his teeth out. Like that. That's.
But then.
Yeah,
and then David Ayer comes out and is like, no, that's just his teeth. And it's like, oh, You should have ran with it. You
should have been like,
you
yeah,
should
man.
have ran with it.
Like, I'm happy they guys figured it out when they did. Because we were gonna reveal it anyways. That's what I would have hoped. They're like, yeah, that was totally our plan from the beginning. It's like, I don't know. I do, but that's Suicide Squad. I don't.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, I'm super.
It
pumped.
is what it could be either a incredible hit or a catastrophic failure. I don't think there's going to be much middle ground here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be. I'm picturing people going in and being like, "Oh, the Joker was good. Movie could have been better, but the Joker was good." Let's see.
Yeah, I think that if the Joker is the main talking point about the Suicide Squad, then the movie has failed, because this is about the team. It would be like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy was okay, but that Thanos was terrific.
Yeah.
Like,
that is essentially what it is. It's like,
if that happens, then the movie has not succeeded.
Okay.
At least in my opinion. It depends on what it's doing. I don't know. I've not seen it yet.
Right.
Or have I?
Okay, guys. Well, I think that makes the good podcast today, Trilbee. All right.
I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Who needs Bandit? Let's fire him.
All right. Well, that was another episode of the Movie Mania podcast. Thank you all for listening. Today we had a really good discussion on Civil War, ambiguous endings, Anomalisa, and what made it so great. Grant, tweet out to Bandit if you're listening to this. Be like, wish him farewell wherever he may be right now. Trilbee, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me online, unlike Bandit. They can find me on my website, www.trilbee.com. It has been a distressing week because I've given 2 0-star reviews in 1 week. It has been terrible for the Brothers Grimsby and for London Has Fallen. It's been a bad week. But you can find out all my latest reviews there. You can also find me on YouTube at Trilbee Reviews and on Twitter at Trilbee Reviews. That's TRILBEE. And on... Yeah, that's basically it. That's all the important ones. You can find me if you want to. Trey, where can the wonderful people find you online?
Good job. And they can find me on the YouTubes, Twitters, Instagrams, and Facebook, all either at Sherman White or Podcast Media. Thank you all for watching. Join us next week when we go see 10 Cloverfield Lane, a movie that I'm actually going to see right now as we speak. I'm going to go get ready right after we finish recording. See you all later, and thank you for watching Movie Maniacs.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, wait, I hung up. My bad.
I think we done good. Where'd you go?
That's my bad.
Where'd you go?
That's my bad. I won't lie, I accidentally hung up. That was not my intention.
I've done that before once. Who's calling? Hello?
Hello?
What's happening?
I thought you just hung up on me. I thought you just hung up on me. Hello?
Oh, I don't know what's going on. But, I've done that before. Hang up the call instead of stopping the recording.
Yeah, I felt so douchey. I'm like, oh, he's going to hate me.
The recording. 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 The recording.